Awesome. What's the countdown again?
7 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. So 2 minutes past.
I think we shouldn't be hurt. I think I've worked that one out at least. But I'll let you know.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough.
I'm about to say we're about to give a real good account for this.
I'm not. I wasn't picking up. Like,
Yeah, finna get it. Watch me, finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. Used to know me when I had nothing in my pockets. Now they see me and they talking, always watching. I remember when you said I wouldn't make it. Now you mad because I took it, didn't fake it. Pressing every day, yeah, I was patient. Putting all that work, no hesitation. Now I'm getting everything I'm chasing. Look at me now, yeah, I'm elevation. Finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. See me pulling up, they switching how they acting. Back then, you weren't here when I was lacking. Now you want a piece of what I'm stacking. But I remember everything that happened. Keep it moving, ain't no time for all that talking. I've been running to the bag, I'm never walking. They've been sleeping, I've been up until the morning. Now I'm winning and there ain't no way I'm falling. Finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. Yeah, they doubted me, they did it, now they proud of me.
Good evening, folks. 7 down, 3 to go. It's playoff action starting at the 2026 InfinityGSeries. My name is Finn Williams in the commentary box for you this evening, alongside rotating gas special guests who we'll get to in a moment. But my co-commentator for the first race of the night were the Bronze Rockets for round 8 of the Premier Sim Racing League in Gran Turismo 7 in Europe and the rest of the world is HTTP Pyro. Pyro, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's a mouthful at times. There's too many P's in the middle of the name, but yeah, no, I'm doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to this playoff action now. So everyone's just kind of putting things on the line, and we'll get to see where everyone goes from here.
Absolutely, and on the week of one of the best motor races in the world, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, it's only right that we send our 24 teams to the Circuit de La Sarthe for the first race of postseason action. But we're not running in any of the Le Mans spec cars this week. Pyro, we are running in something altogether different, the Aston Martin Vulcan.
Yeah, definitely are. Not too much slower, if I remember right, from my very limited experience driving this car, admittedly. Do drive it every so often, but I think it's going to be a very, very interesting one, especially trying to get that car stopped. I think that's going to be the issue, the big issue this week, compared to like you were talking about, the Le Mans, like the Group 1 cars in particular. It's a little bit more powerful than a Group 3, but probably somewhere in between a Group 2, Group 1 car potentially here.
Okay, so from what we've been seeing, firstly we'll take a look at the team's championship, and this is after the 7 round of regular season action we've had, but we have now split. So we have our top 6 teams into the Golden Rockets, 7 to 12 in the Silver Rockets, and then our final 12 teams, 13 to 24 in the Bronze Rockets Championship. And it looks like at the top of that championship, which is the first race we'll get into tonight, we have 3 teams within 1 point of each other.
Yeah, and it was all going up the end of last week's racing in Abu Dhabi. It was absolutely insane. 4 teams were split between 1 or 2 points, and obviously the top 3 in that situation have to be in this in the Bronze Rockets tonight. So this is going to be a very interesting scenario to unfold for the next 3 weeks.
It will be extremely interesting, as we see at the top of the Bronze Rockets standings at the moment. A Deluxe Esports team, AGT drivers on the same amount of points, and Team Monza Racing, who picked up their first race win of the season at Abu Dhabi last week, and indeed are the only team in the Bronze Rockets event not to have won a race in the regular season. They go off on 135 points, but with the amount of points we have up for action in any given race, and with 3 races of playoff action left this season, it's still all to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see a couple of names, AGT and Nexian. Those were the 2 teams for that 6th spot in the Silver Rocket race we'll see later on tonight. But they had extremely disappointing weeks in the worst possible time last week, so they're going to have to kind of turn it around straight away here at Le Mans tonight, and I wonder if they're going to be able to do it.
Absolutely, and for my money, with the way the format's working, we'll get into the format in a moment. This Bronze Rockets race is one I'm looking at with great intrigue, because we have 12 teams in action tonight, and that means it's only 1 driver per team on track at any given moment. So it's going to be every man for themselves. There's no team orders. It's go out there and battle hard for the win and the championship points. So that could present a really interesting aspect of intrigue. And you look down that standings, and even for the supposed bottom tier of teams we've seen this season, there are some really big names there, the likes of Maniacs Revolution. Joker's E-Team sit bottom of the championship on 45 points, despite being pre-qualified for this event. They didn't have to come through the qualifier, they were seeded, they made the finals of GT Poppy last season, just all unravelled for them. We have some new names in there, like Nexus, Abaltada, so it's going to be a really interesting combination of new and experienced faces in the Mach 25 ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely, and each of them are going to bring a different thing to the table, especially when they're on their own, because we've seen them 6 weeks through the rest of the regular season, rather, with a teammate. Someone that you're able to strategize with, someone you're able to bounce ideas off of. What are you going to do when it comes to certain corners? How are you going to approach the tracks? How are you approaching an overtake on certain tracks? None of that exists today. You're on your own. On your own, and that's all you're gonna have to do it all yourself now.
So I wonder if, before we get to the action, qualifying scheduled to start in 8 minutes as far as my higher maths can tell me. I wonder if we can have a look at the calendar for the rest of the season, if that is at all possible, because from what I remember and having a look at the regulations early on, we have 3 incredible tracks we head to. We have Le Mans tonight, on Wednesday evening this week, so we've got 2 races coming to you this week. Wednesday evening, me and Pyro are back in the commentary box, and we are headed to Spa-Francorchamps, another legendary circuit in its own right. And then we end the season next week at one of the best tracks and one of the most legendary tracks in Gran Turismo in general, in Grand Valley. So a real mix of different tracks and championship races heading towards the playoffs. It'll be a real test of these drivers' skill.
Oh yeah, every single track offers a very different perspective on how to drive, and every single track needs a different driving style to get the maximum out of it. Obviously, Le Mans, Spa are ones we know off by heart by this point, if anyone's driven any racing game at this point. But Grand Valley going to be the interesting one, in my opinion. That's going to be the one that might catch a few people out.
Yeah, and that is the curtain closer for the season as well. So all the drama looks to be heading to America at the final race of the season. But looking at, we'll look at the format now, as we're a matter of minutes away from qualifying, so we'll get the screen to you as soon as possible. But for now, as we see the screen pop up there, that's fantastic work from our production team this evening. Mr. Ralph, the Alice driver, will be joining us in the commentary box later on tonight, doing a sterling job in the production booth. Saying that, we are alive. I can confirm that. We are here. We were speaking to you from the Shadow Realm, seeing the movie Traffic Dragon Trail, and we are now in the afterlife. But no, heading into the format for this evening, we're going to see 3 races tonight, but maybe across a shorter distance. But we start tonight with the Bronze Rockets, and we work our way up to the Golden Rockets. Bronze Rockets have 12 teams, and the bottom 12 teams in the championship in action, so 1 driver per team. As we've already said, it's not going to be the Super Bowl style qualifying format we have had for the entirety of the regular season. It's just going to be a straight 5-minute qualifying session, set the fastest time, top driver stops and pole work back. Moving on to the Silver and Golden Rockets race. Team championships later on in the evening, so we'll bring the Silver Rockets to you first and then the Golden Rockets. So we'll have 2 drivers per team, like we've seen through the rest of the regular season. Essentially the same format as the regular season with regards to drivers and teams. The only difference being that once again in the Silver Rockets race it will be a straight qualifying session, 5 minutes. Whereas in the Golden Rockets, the final race of the night with the top 6 teams in the regular season standings, it will be the Super Bowl format we've become accustomed to in the regular season. But looking at the Bronze and Silver Rockets tonight, 5-minute straight qualifying session. In a track like Le Mans, where it's so long, it's basically a Super Bowl session because you're only going to be able to get 1 flying lap in. But in the tracks that we come to later on, towards the end of the season, Spa and Grand Valley, that could present an altogether different dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. Grand Valley's going to have a few laps to it, for maybe about 2 or 3 laps of actual qualifying. So it's just going to be more than the one shot we're definitely used to. Here's not so much. Here's a one and done. You make a mistake, that will be it. And Spa's probably somewhere in between. You might have to balance it very finely to get a second lap in, depending on how long the runoff is. But it's going to be one of those where mistakes are still going to be punished quite heavily over the next couple of race days, especially this week in particular.
Absolutely. Now, what we'll do before we start qualifying is we'll focus in a bit more perhaps on the Bronze Rockets race, and as we've already alluded to it, a thrilling title battle because the points from the regular season, so the first 7 rounds, are carried over into the playoff format. So our top 3 teams are on 136, 136 and 135 points, with Anexion down on 129 just behind them. In terms of the teams we're seeing in action tonight, who have you got your eye on to maybe spring a surprise and be up at the front?
You see, in terms of springing a surprise, I think Maniacs proved enough to me in Abu Dhabi that they might be able to spring something. Team Monza Racing also coming in with a lot of momentum, and that is key. When you get to this end of the season, into the playoffs, you're on your own now. Momentum is everything, which is why I'm fearful for Anexion and AGT. And the AGT in particular, great season up until this point, but when you have such a poor race, when it was handed to you on effectively a silver platter, being in Silver Rockets at Abu Dhabi, and you squander that, how does that play on the psyche? And that's what I'm looking at most still tonight.
Absolutely, and we did see very briefly some cars on track, but I think it is worth mentioning that we are at the Circuit de La Sarthe this week, one of the most iconic tracks in motorsport. And before we get into the track preview, which I'll let you cover very quickly, Para, I would like to give a specific mention to two of our colleagues who are actually heading to Le Mans in real life this week for the 24-hour race. So we wish all the best to Yomas and the Wii who are there this weekend. Michelin doing some work with them. And all I can say is I'm extremely jealous, but I do wish them all the best for the week. I mentioned them in Discord chat the other day before we came on out. I'm sure they'll be incredibly disappointed to learn that there is no Peugeot RCZ in the GT3 class this year. But as you say, we wish them all the best in their endeavours through the week, and I'm sure they'll keep us posted as the week progresses. But as we say, we are at Le Mans this week, and it is a track that needs no introduction, but I'm sure Pari can try and give it one anyway.
Yeah, track that's a very, very long situated track, 3.5 minutes potentially in this Vulcan car. It's going to present a lot of problems, and a lot of problems on GT in particular with the penalty side of things, especially in the end of the second sector after the what was Dunlop Bridge there. I believe that has been changed for this year's Le Mans. But yeah, a lot of straights following that very, very straight track. A lot of overtaking opportunities will in fact present themselves down the line for the teams if they want to take advantage of it. And that's the question going into this track. Where and when do you take the advantage of an overtake? Because if you go down into the middle of the track here, you go down to the end of the two Multon straights, you're not really gonna get much of a benefit, because you'll come out of that hairpin corner and you'll be under attack straight away from the car behind with a slipstream, and you've got to manage that situation. So maybe the best overtaking point might be down into Indianapolis. Who knows? We'll soon find that out. But then obviously after Indianapolis, it gets very windy. A lot of the Porsche curves being in particular the standout situation in the final sector, and you've got to get those right. If you end up getting those wrong, the wall will situate, you'll sit yourself into a wall, and bouncing back from that is not an easy task, I'll tell you that much. Done that a few times myself.
Absolutely, and Le Mans is a circuit that has a storied history within this particular ecosystem at Mach 25. Even as recently as last year, when I made my commentary debut with the team alongside Flash Dagger at the GT Pulpy event in October, the team's final was on this very track. And I'm sure some people who are watching here tonight can vouch. Some of them may have even been there in person. It was absolute carnage from start to finish. I don't think there was a single team in that final that went without incident at some point. It was changing conditions from start to finish. It was a fantastic race. And one thing that played a major part there was strategy. Do the same again this evening, so worth bearing mention too at the moment before we get into qualifying, the softs and mediums, obviously racing tyres, I wouldn't like to see these cars on comfort softs, but racing softs and mediums are available and are mandatory during the race. So there was a mandatory pit stop for the teams. It is 2 times tyre wear and 1 times fuel consumption, so fuel shouldn't play too much of a factor, neither should the tyres in all honesty, but there will be a mandatory stop and you do have to switch compounds in the pit lane. Our strategists have run the numbers for tonight and they tend to be more accurate than ones in the Gran Turismo World Series. That's all I'm going to say. They're predicting it's going to be a 3-5 split, softs and mediums, but it's whatever order the teams opt to go for. It's a 50-50. Obviously, you'd expect maybe some of the drivers out front, depending on the qualifying session, to go on the softs, as I think we're about to start qualifying. So 5 soft, 3 medium is the split for the race, but we have all eyes on qualifying. As a reminder, once we get to playoff season in the bronze and silver rockets, it is a 5-minute straight shootout, but in a longer circuit like Le Mans, it is essentially a super session with the drivers and teams only being able to get 1 lap in a piece.
This is interesting to me because I'm looking at this, and we've been throughout the rest of the regular season. I've been making to this point to whoever's been in the booth with me, is that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of seeing the softer tyres go first in a strategy, and especially when we saw it Group 3, because that's my speciality when I'm talking about the game in particular. I saw that a lot, and I just do not understand going soft first, unless you're right at the front of the grid so you can clear off. because you just get held up on them. It damages the tyres more. You should be starting on the medium tyres here, I reckon. When it comes to the actual race itself, obviously qualifying a whole different beast is seeing a couple of people trying to jump the position.
Heading down the back straight, down the Mulsanne is a thing of beauty. Dark conditions here as well. Obviously, with the drivers and skill level that these teams exhibit, it shouldn't play too much of a factor. I hope they're able to get their eyesight checked perfectly. But looking out the front, I mean, on screen at the moment we have the Jokers team, and for a team that was seeded early on in the season, they didn't even have to come through the pre-qualifier thanks to their performances in Mac 25 last season. They were guaranteed their spot in what is essentially our premier online event. They've been, I think there's no other way of putting it, a massive disappointment. They're currently 24th and last in the championship. They had a no-show at round 3 at Lego National due to, I believe, issues with the setup, an absolutely criminal mistake where they applied a part 2 to the car that wasn't supposed to be on there and they weren't allowed on track, and it was too late to change them. And they currently sit 6 points off of, I think it's Avitada in 23rd. So a lot of ground for them to make up if they're to even get off the foot of the table. But it's been a big disappointment for them this season, a team who had such high hopes coming into it.
Yeah, I think you're being generous, if I'm completely honest with you. I would call this an unmitigated disaster if I was terming it myself for Jokers. Come in seeded and end up bottom of the entire table through the regular season. Yeah, that's going to sting a lot. And it might also be a bit too late for them to cover much ground here in the Bronze Rockets either. So it really has been a season to forget, and one that they will want to erase from history very quickly.
Absolutely. And the two other teams I think it's worth bearing mention that didn't have to come through the pre-qualifiers. So our 2 preceded teams heading into the regular season that are in action tonight. One of them, Maniacs Revolution, again, a team that have always been there or thereabouts within Max 25. They've been consistent enough this season. They're on 101 points, joint 18th with Hydra Wrenchsport, but their consistency has been that sort of 15 to 20 point mark, and that's not really where you're wanting to be. They have shown signs of promise, as we mentioned, in Mount Panorama in particular, as well as that race at the Red Bull Ring, but all in all, a pretty disappointing season for them, and they'll look to bounce back and maybe try and find an outside chance of getting up towards the Bronze Rockets title. The other team that were pre-qualified for this season but have fallen short of the top 12, Team Monza Racing, but for them it's just been a complete case of inconsistency. They had a podium finish in the first race of the season. They won their final race of the season, but there's just been absolutely nothing in between from them.
Yeah, it started off well, ended off well. The problem is you don't really get very far doing just that. You can look all the way through the top 2 tiers of essentially the Silver Rockets and the Golden Rockets, and every single one of them teams have a substantial body of work almost every single round. They may have one drop off, which is going to happen. You're not going to be able to nail 7 rounds in a row, for example. But like, you've got to have something in the middle in a 7-round season. You've got to have something in the middle to prop up that first and final good result.
Yeah, and we are just getting our flying laps on the way now, and the cars have really spread out quite a bit. So we've got Jokers at the front of the pack heading down the Mulsanne straight, and meanwhile at the back, Anexium Racing Team represented by Alex hasn't even started his lap by the looks of things. They're just coming through the final set of corners now. So a real spread out. Obviously there's a generous amount of time, the teams can spread out, but it looks like with 5-minute session, Anexium Team crossing the line was just about 15 seconds before the checkered flag flies. So expertly timed from them, and they'll get a lot of clean air. But heading down the Mulsanne straight, some teams up front may be getting a tow from the teams behind them, so that could be an advantage depending on the dirty air situation. But it looks to be all clean out front at the moment as the checkered flag does fly. So this will be the only laps these drivers will run, and it's all but nothing, all or nothing, I should say, on the line for this first qualifying session of the playoff season.
Yeah, and it's all going to come down to this one particular lap to see who's going to be on pole, who's going to make the least amount of mistakes is the best way of putting it here, because Le Mans is one, as I said in the preview, that encumbers a lot of mistakes. It is a very hard track to get right in every single corner, and penalties is going to probably be the biggest factor here. You can get one on the exit of Indianapolis, you can get one on the exit of the second sector as well, but it doesn't look like anyone has particularly managed that. But also the more standard chicanes here that you've got. The first one we're currently watching Alex go through is a particular hotbed for penalties as well, when you can get a little bit too far to the inside. So it's all about making the least amount of mistakes humanly possible. If you're going to make those mistakes, make them early, otherwise you're going to lose your lap.
Absolutely, and heading down, drivers heading down towards the end of the Mulsanne straight forward now. I think I spotted one. I think it was Coco in the deluxe car, and there is a penalty up front as well. And of course, we said it. It's been a season to forget for Joe Gseries, and Mace, the Portuguese, the Spanish at the helm of that Vulcan, has picked up the first penalty of the night. And from what you're saying, Pyro, I'm not quite sure it'll be the last. Meanwhile, I think I saw a bit further back the deluxe driver, Toto Coco, who's had a bit of a decent season, if I'll be honest. Highlights. I think he may have had an incident down the back as well, and he's really struggling in that car, actually. I'm watching him in our second camera at the moment as well, and he's having some big issues there as well, sliding out all over the place, so I'm not sure it's going to be that competitive of a lap from the deluxe driver. I think he did have a spin towards the back end of the Mulsanne there as well, as I was mentioning, although I wasn't able to catch that on my camera. I'm having to rely on the mini-map a bit. There's a bit of racing going on, actually, between the EPLF cars and the Hydra car. I think the Hydra car, Franfe, getting a bit fed up behind Seku and the EPLF machine. That's not going to do much for either of their respective times. They're going side by side.
Oh, collision between the two of them. It's a little bit. They do realise it's a qualifying lap, right? Oh, out onto the grass for Franfe. That's not good luck.
And the headlights being flashed by Franfe, that's the international driver's signal for move out of the way and quick. But that's not going to do much at all for either of their lap times. As we come across the line now, 3:40 the benchmark time set by Mazinger, but passed by Alvaro in the Thunderlights car, 3:39.888. There's a penalty for the Hydra car, 1 second, so his lap will be completely invalidated as Alex goes up into P2, Seku up into P3 in the EPLF car. So the first 7 teams have set lap times, a penalty as well. Garasso goes up to provisional pole for Team Monza Racing, 3:38.6, well clear of Alvaro in second place, 1.2 seconds the gap between the pair. Dresch across the line now for control of the time. He slot provisional P6. Toto Coco and Alex, the final cars to come through the final corners. There's a penalty for Franfe, so his lap won't count. Alex coming through the final corner now. Firstly, it'll be the deluxe driver of Toto Coco who comes across the line, does go into P5, so maybe there wasn't an incident. Maybe
penalty for Alex as well.
And there's a penalty for Alex, and there's, because that hasn't been served before the penalty line, his lap will be invalidated. But it is Garassa and Team Monza Racing continuing their momentum, as you mentioned, Pyro, from last week. They're on pole for the first race of the night and of the playoffs here at Le Mans.
Yep, and I was bringing up the point, as you rightfully said, momentum. It is all momentum when it comes to this kind of racing, at this kind of track, and at this point in the season. It's all about continuing momentum, and if you can have momentum coming into this race, that makes your life a lot easier than it does before if you didn't. That's a certain. And you can see that with Team Monza Racing, again, looking to put themselves in a position to potentially snatch a title out in the next couple of weeks. And only the Italian and a sea of Spanish is the way of describing that. But I think Franfe, I want to bring up Franfe for a second. I think his penalty came after the contact between him in that final sector that he got through. I think he didn't have the penalty before that, I don't believe.
I'm just having a look at the regulations, and it doesn't look like there's any penalties for contact. Car collision penalties are off, so it must have been a shortcut penalty. I'm not sure if there's a case maybe of Franfe getting forced out into the grass like we saw by the EPLF car, but he can't have been on that bad a lap in Seku because he slotted into P4, but that can just be a question as to what sort of lap the Hydra car was, because if Seku's lined up P4 despite his fighting with the Hydra driver, where could he have lined up if he wasn't getting the penalty? So I'm not sure. If I was the Hydra team, I'd be on the ringer to the stewards at the moment trying to get that sorted out. Obviously not before the race, but maybe post-race penalties can be applied. So there's a look at our grid heading towards the first race of the evening, and Garassa on pole position, 14 Monza Racing by a country mile, 1.2 seconds clear of the Thunderlights car in P2. Another of our championship contenders for the Bronze Rockets title, Alex, will slot in P3, less than a tenth off the front row. It's been a disappointing season for EPLF Sim Racing, 22nd in the championship, but a good effort from Seku to put the cat amongst the pigeons and get him up into P4. Your championship leaders in the Bronze Rockets at the moment, Toto Coco representing Deluxe Esports team, will go from P5. It'll be Maziga for Maniacs Revolution starting in P6, and now we get to teams 2 seconds off of the pole time, starting with the Control of the Time team represented by Dress with a 3:41.3. 3.7 seconds off now is the Avutada car of Alberto GL Pro starting in P8. And then our 2 final representative times going to MSSV of Nexus in P9. And then the Mace Jokers ET presented by Mace currently sit bottom of the championship and did pick up a penalty, which they were able to serve before the penalty time. Their time does count, but they're 5.5 seconds off the pole and will go from P10. And then P11 and P12. Fran Faithful Hydra Rennsport, after that battle with Seku during qualifying, maybe causing him a penalty. And then one of the championship contenders in this particular run of the championship, Alex 24, who's had a P4 this season at Mount Panorama, he will go from P12 after a penalty in the final session of qualifying. We are just having a look at our starting tyres now as well, as provided to us by the production team. And it looks like Alex starting P12, Alberto starting P8 and Franfe starting P11 are on the softs. And as you've alluded to, Pyro, with your insane strategy brain of yours, everyone else has opted for the soft compound tyres for the first stint of this race.
Yeah, it's... I'm about to say, I don't really like the idea of going soft to start with. I especially unless I'm literally on the pole. Probably the only exception. I just think it burns the tyres too much to start on the soft tyre. You wear them out too quickly, you've got more fuel, and then you cause yourself a bit more problems because you wear everything gradually becomes worse. Whereas if you do them in the second stint for the softs, you're on less fuel, you're on better tyres, your tyres are going to be warmer quicker, and it's just an easier time if you start yourself on the mediums, figure out your position, and then move on after that. We'll wait and see how that played out.
Okie doke, we're about to get our first race of the evening underway, so we'll head to full screen now so we can show you our race start for the evening. And as we see them on the outside heading towards turn 1 to become the inside into turn 2, of course, it's the poleman Garassa for Team Monza Racing. On the inside for turn 1 will be the Thunderlights car, Avalvaro 114. The 5 lights are about to get ready, so let's go racing for the first time this evening and of the playoffs in InfinityGSeries. We're underway at Le Mans, and it's an equal start for the 2 cars out in front. Alex going off from 3rd as well. It looks pretty equal. They might go 3 wide, actually. Alvaro's got a decent start. Alex has got a fantastic start. He's heading up into P1 as they head towards turn 1 and down the chicane towards turns 2 and 3. Seku looking for a move on the outside of Alvaro. They all bunch up. They're 3 wide behind. Seku going up the inside of Alvaro into P3. But Alex, the AGT car, out of nowhere, has the race lead as they all head wide of turn through turns 5 and 6.
Yeah, and, well, quite frankly, Alan got off the best. That's manager off into the gravel there, I think. Yeah, he's all the way down. Oh, there's contact as well between Seiko and Coco. All the way into the wall after the Dunlop Bridge. It is not a good start for 3 of the 12 teams. We've got a replay here to see what's gone on. Manager, the first one on the outside here, rather, getting a little bit of contact forced out. You can see in the wall there, Seiko, I think, got turned over the nose of Coco by the looks of things, and it's all 3 of those teams are off to a horrible start.
It is all happening, and what heartbreak for EPLF, an incredible effort for them to get up into P4 after what's been a pretty poor season by their standards. But all that hard work in the qualifying session completely undone by that incident. And as you say, disappointing start for Deluxe Esports, one of the title contenders actually in this particular run, and EPLF as well, who had such high hopes. But beside all of that, what a start from P3 for Alex and the AGT team. He now leads this race by 7/10 of a second with Garassa behind, as there's a penalty for Franfe. I know he's on the soft compound tyres, but what an effort for him to get up to P4 already in the opening circumstances. But he is going to have to serve that penalty after I'm getting the name of the turn, but he is going to have to serve that penalty sooner rather than later. But what a start for Alex out front.
Yeah, I also want to bring up the fact that the other Alex, this time for an Anexian, also up there in P5, will take advantage of the half-second penalty for Fran Fay, so he'll jump up into P4 in a couple of corners' time here. But yeah, AGT off to a flyer. Gseries has managed to hold into the front too, so he'll be fine where he is. But to two other championship rivals right now have been absolutely decimated off the start, which is not a good sign. Well, it's a great sign if you're the two out front.
Bit of a battle going on behind here for PA, actually, as the rest of the cars follow through line of stone. Jokers, Maniacs Revolution, and Nexus, that looks like battling for PA, all on the medium compound tyres as far as I can tell, as MSSV manages to slip up in the inside past the Joker's car for PA, and maybe he can try and close the gap to Alberto in P7, who, as a reminder, is one of three cars stopped. As I think the Joker's car's gone a bit wide, actually. Might have been forced out wide by the Maniacs car of Maziga, and so he's now up into P9, but perhaps the stewards' referrals for quite a lot of them this season, maybe one happening just then, but the Maniacs car by any rate up into P9 as things stand, with a bit of a gap to the Joker's car behind.
Yeah, not a lot of contact in that one in particular, but it wasn't necessarily the contact that forced them wide at the deep line, where the Maniacs car just essentially handed no room whatsoever to the Joker's E-team. I mean, some may say and look at that as a good overtake. Some may say that's a little bit too aggressive. We'll see how that is interpreted down the line. Alex is still in cruise control of the race at the end of the first lap here. He's got Gseries behind him, Alvaro in third, and then the other Alex in the lobby for Anexian, up into fourth, as we said, with the penalty for Fran Fay. Sorry,
yeah.
Continue.
I was just going to say, Dreschen P6 for control time, decent start for him. Control time, another team that may be flattered to the seat a little bit this season, but even on the medium compound tyres, he's up into the top half, which is a really good effort from him. Fran Fay has managed to close that gap to Alex and the NXN team, and I'd expect there wouldn't be much of a fight. They're running completely different strategies. That being said, Alex is holding the inside line through the opening corners, so there might be a bit of fighting here, but by the time it comes to the pit stop, that might not have been the wisest move. But Fran Fay's all over the gearbox of Alex in front of them, and surely get a move done. The Master Stay picked up another penalty. Rookie error from the Hydra driver, a second penalty in as many laps, and he might well get the overtake done on the Alexian car for P4, but once again, he's going to have to slow down and serve that penalty, and that will surely let his Spanish compatriot back through into P4.
Oh, he's going for the move now. I'm not entirely sure that's the entirely smartest decision down towards the first of these more stands. He's bump drafting now. That's what he should have done from the get-go. He got a penalty. He should have just used his first chicane as measure to hold Alex to it, and then go realistically into this second chicane right here to see if he could get himself alongside. But he's kind of just given Alex all the room in the world to work with here. And there's going to be a little bit more bump drafting, maybe not, because he now pulls himself alongside to the inside of Alex here and Anexian as Fran Fay gets himself in front. Maybe just a little bit of a card left now. He does have a card left as we head toward the braking zone, and Fran Fay is going to be ahead, but the question is for how long? And I don't know if it's going to be another couple of corners.
Yeah, he might well stay ahead here. I don't think Alex is particularly rushing at this moment in time, especially with the tyre deficit and now knowing that the driver in front has a penalty for the second lap running, and he'll likely get past him at the slowdown line for the second lap running. Maziga out ahead of MSSV in the battle for PA. That's a change for position there as a Maniacs Revolution driver gets the better of his Nexus counterpart. That's being said, there is a bit of a battle between those two looking to pull clear of the Joker's E-team car. That being said, horror start for the Joker's E-team car. He's just been passed by Seku, who had that awful incident at the start of lap one. He might well be passed by Toto Coco, the deluxe car, as well. So for all that hard issues that the two cars in P10 and soon to be P11 had, they've managed to reel the pack in together quite quickly, and they've now passed the first of those cars as Mace doesn't put up too much of a fight in the Joker's machine.
Yeah, it's almost like they've just realised what happened in that first couple of corners. They've now sorted themselves out a little truce for a little bit of time here. Oh, Fran Fay a little bit squirrely out of the final, out the corner before the penalty line here, and that'll allow for Alex with the penalty to go on by and up into P4 again. Alvaro is the car that he is now trying to chase, but The real question is, how long are you going to get before Franfe becomes a problem again?
My question is here, Alex is the car out in front with the AGT, but he has the soft compound tyres on. He is increasing that gap to Garassa behind him in the Team Monza car. It's only 1.7 seconds though, and there is a tyre deficit. So Garassa's on the medium, Alex is on the soft. Are those softs really worth 1.7 seconds of time over 2 laps? Or is Garassa maybe just a quicker car? And when it comes to pit stop time, could he have the inherent advantage towards the end of the race as he switches onto the soft compound?
I told you this at the start of this race. If you are on the medium compound at this stage of the race, especially in Garassa's position, you are in net position to win this race. Without a shadow of a doubt. The car is significantly easier to drive on the soft tyres, and it will be worth a decent chunk of time to do that at the end of the race, because you won't lose as much tyre wear. You are not on as much fuel. It's all the factors that you would think go into tyre wear will present themselves come lap 7, lap 8 here, when he had the better tyres than what would be lap 5 for Alex out front.
I'll tell you what, Sekou has had some phenomenal pace in the PLF car, even on the medium compound tyres. There's a penalty for
Alex out front.
And Alex has a penalty out front, half a second. And could that gap is now actually coming down to Garassa, now 1.5 seconds. It is decreasing. Could he, after the penalty line, be into the clutches at the hand of the Team Monza car behind him? Could we have a battle for the lead, which would be an awful issue for Alex with the soft compound tyres? Maybe used completely to waste here. But this is everything that Garassa wanted. If he can push a bit harder here, he can maybe catch the car out in front by the time the penalty line comes about.
Yeah, he's going to have to find maybe a 3 or 4 tenths of a second, have a real shot at it. But quite frankly, he's on the better tyres for this situation. Not necessarily the better tyres overall, but the better tyres for the current situation. Alex has been overtaken by Franfe again in the whole thing there.
No penalty this time for him, though.
No, so the Hydra car is very much in position to hold on. This time out, Alex is actually going to have to force the move. Alvaro in front is no longer that far in front of these 2 cars that we're currently watching on screen, and he's not going to be any more over because he got a second penalty. That was timing and a half then, and that is not good news for Alvaro out front, well, in 3rd place here.
Absolutely not. I wonder if any of our Mach 25 historians, I think this is something Alf might know off the top of his head, knowing his encyclopedic knowledge on the topic of Mach 25 gaming, if he can tell us what's the record for most amount of penalties given for track limits in the race, because we're only on lap 3 of this one, but I think that record may be fast approaching as Alvaro picks up his first penalty. There's going to be another battle between Franfe and Alex here, and this isn't just an anomaly. The 2 Alex cars, I think those soft, saying that he's on the medium, my apologies, but those soft compound tyres are wearing off quite quickly. Franfe having issues himself getting passed by Alex, and the AGT Alex out in front being caught. Those soft compound tyres are wearing off really quickly, Pyro.
Yeah, they are, and this was my point. They're going to wear a lot less in the second half of this race when compared to what they are going to be now. Alvaro's taking his penalty again, doing a little bit of a little bit sliding on the gear just to try and half the penalty and stop the braking as much so he doesn't lose as much time there. A little bit cheeky at the penalty line from Alvaro, but it's not going to change the position that he's going to find himself in here with both Franfe and Alex going by. Alex up into P3 now then. Sekou is ahead of MSSV as he is up in the 9th. Oh, we got yellow flags. We got yellow flags. Who's off?
Oh, good question. Who is off? We need to know it's Dresh. Dresh, the control the time car is off. He was in such a promising position in P6. We'll get a look and see if we can. Excellent replay technician here. Let's see if we can find out where. I'm saying that we haven't managed to find out where he's gone wrong here. I'm sure it was a big incident. I'm sure we'll give it the big billing. But he's having such a good race with the control of the time car, and he's just lost all that position. We sadly can't get the replay to you at the moment. But as you say, he's lost all that time in position now down in P12, as we see our first medium runner come into the pit lane already to go for 5 laps on the softs, and it's the Maniacs Revolution car of Mazinger, and saying that Dresh following that incident is into the pit lane as well for control of time.
That is interesting because only 2 people have come in at the end of lap 3. We were suspecting at the start of the night that it would be a 3-5 or vice versa situation, and that means there are some people on this medium tyre that elected not to do that. So that's going to put things into a little bit of perspective later on into this race then, to see if they're going to try their best to kind of hang on to that soft tyre later on, do 4-4 maybe instead.
Yeah, and I'd say that the AGT car of Alex has managed to keep his lead out front despite serving his penalty. So he's now up into but Garassa is in the tow, and Alvaro, as we said, has ceded both positions to the Anexian Alex and Hydra Range Sport Franfe as well. There's a potential battle for the lead out front now after AGT Alex has served that penalty. And Garassa now only within half a second and absolutely in the tow as we head down the second part of the Malsan straight, and potentially we could have a real battle for the lead heating up here. But I think you're right, Pyro. I think all the evidence points towards maybe a 4-4 split between the soft and medium compounds.
Yeah, definitely. The entire grid has decided that they're going to at least try 4-4 at the very least. There's a few that were starting on the soft. We'll see if they elect to go one lap more at the end of this one. So I'll give it all our answers to the questions that we're currently posing. But look at this. Alex is now within a second, but Garassa is right up to the back of AGT Alex out in front. That's definitely not going to become a mouthful if those two are going to fight each other later on into this race at all.
Yeah, and we're heading down towards the braking zone now. Garassa probably doing the right thing here and biding his time, as Franfe and Anexian Alex both went deep there but managed to recover it just about. And let's not forget, all this fighting between the 4 cars out in front could potentially bring Alvaro back into this one as well for Thunderlight. So a potential 5-car battle for the lead. I mean, what more could you want here at back 25 games?
Here we go.
6 cars for the lead.
Here we go for the lead.
Garassa and Alex are about to go side by side. They're side by side for P3 as well. There's contact behind between the Anexian and Hydra car. But Garassa into the race lead. We have our first lead change since the lights went green, and it's the Italian Team Monza car of Garassa heading into P1 on the mediums. So that's a bit of a disaster. That AGT Alex behind on the softs.
Yeah, it's pretty much everything you would want. If you are Team Monza Racing and you are watching this stream, or you're watching the Spanish stream, you could not be more happy with the situation you currently find yourself in. Because there is no better situation than being on the slower tyre, in quotation marks here, and being in the lead. You are beating 3 drivers behind that are all on the soft tyres that should realistically be fighting you for a title. Especially in the case of AGT and Anexian, for example, in second and third. And you are just beating them both on track and in strategy. And I wonder how much this is going to benefit Garassa. The real question now is he going into the pits? He's got to.
Yeah,
He is going in, so is Alex.
Anexian Alex and Hydra Franfe both deciding to stay out for an extra lap, one on the soft and one on the medium. So we're already seeing a deferral strategy in all 4 cases on the soft and mediums, whether you're pitting early or stay out for a lap longer. Seku and the EPLF car has now managed to get by Alberto for Avitada. They're both opting to stay out as well. MSSV is coming in for Nexus alongside Toto Coco and the Joker's E-Team car of Mace and Maziga and Dresh pitted a lap earlier onto the soft compound tyres. So I'd hope they'd be staying out till the end of the race. I'm slightly concerned if they didn't, but that means we have deferral of strategy, and there is another battle for the lead going on here between Alex for Anexian and Hydra Rensport Franfe. But could that harm their battle for the lead, as potentially Garassa and AGT Alex could opt for the undercut? Maybe they could work together to ensure they're 1 and 2 after the pit stops.
It would make sense if you were in either one of these battles to not really battle here. Tyres are going off. You just need to get yourself to the line again, just so you can get into the pit stops and reassess the situation when everyone made their pit stop. We're not going to get that though, because there's no such thing as bump drafting. If you're Franfe, who goes to the inside, and he should have him, and he does have him against Anexian and Alex here. And, Franfe with a nice little move, but it's going to cost them. It's going to bleed them time as they go along here, because this is just going to incite a fight back here from Anexian.
Oh, you say that. We'll be interested to find out heading towards Gran. I said Anexi and Alex was going to play fair. He's not. They're going to go side by side, and Alex will have the inside line heading into the second chicane down the Mulsanne straight, and he should re-inherit the lead, which he does. I mean, not exactly sensible play between the two, but at the end of the day, every point matters as we head to the playoff season, so I do understand the efforts from both of them. But as we say, this could only help Grasser and Alex. We're saying that Grasser now is a 2.4 second gap in front of AGT Alex behind, as the two cars as he's gone into the clutches of Alvaro as well. So really interesting to see a 2.5 second gap for the Italian driver. That's surely the net race lead for him, considering the infighting out front between Alex and Franfei.
Comfortably. You also got to remember where the tyres now come into play, and this is where I was talking about it with you at the beginning of the race. The tyres are now going to come into play because AGT Alex has gone to mediums. Alvaro and Grasser have both gone onto the soft tyres in the opposite direction and are going to be substantially quicker until the end of this race now. And I don't think there is a single thing that AGT can do to fight this at all.
No, this is going to be really interesting. This battle between Monza Racing, or was battle between Monza Racing and AGT, essentially a battle for the championship lead, seeing as the Lux are basically out of this one as things stand. But it looks like Alvaro could potentially get a move on Alex now, and this is the beauty of the tyre strategy, as we say, because now the majority of the grid have soft bolted on. Alex is the outsider. He's going to go for the move here, and he will get it done before the braking zone even occurs for that next complex of corners. So really showing the hindsight of having the soft bolted on in front towards me compared to the mediums of Alex. You wouldn't get an easier move if you're Alvaro, and Alex for AGT really is in trouble.
If you're Alvaro now, you're looking for second. You can't be looking for anything else other than second place, because you know the two out front are fighting. You know the two out front are going to be in problem situation. Alex is on the medium tyres at the moment. He'll go to softs and be a bit of a problem for the podium as well in a minute here. But if you're Franfei, you're in trouble. You've been fighting the entire time. You've lost that battle fairly handsomely in the end, and you're not really in any position to fight the guy that will eventually be on the mediums in the second stint either. So you can't do no man's land.
Yeah, no, this is looking like, for all intents and purposes, a battle for the win between Anexion and Team Monza Racing here, with potentially even Thunderlight Sim Racing coming through to take the third podium spot. As saying that, he's already managed to pull a 1.1 second gap on AGT Alex behind them, but this is where push really comes to shove here, as the race leaders on the ultimate strategy do come into the pit lane. As we head down the long pit straight now, will Grasser get by? He will do, and he'll inherit the race lead quite comfortably as Anexion Alex comes out of the pit lane, but behind the Thunderlight's car of Alvaro. So as we were saying, it's the race lead now for Grasser. He's on the soft, Alvaro's on the soft, Alex is the wolf in sheep's clothing behind on in P4 on the mediums alongside Franfei in P5, but this could well be our top three at the end of the race, given they're all running softs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no fighting here from Franfei or from AGT Alex, because they are going to have to they're going to have to hang themselves right on the back of the Anexion car for as long as they humanly can, and any sort of drop outside of that slipstream mark will probably signal the end for them in this particular race, in this fight for a podium. So they've got to keep it together for as long as they humanly can manage here. The cars in fourth and in fifth, while the top three are going to, they're on license to drive away now.
Yeah, and it's a really good effort actually from the Anexion Alex car, because he has brand new soft now. He's been able to make those mediums longer than the two cars in front of them. And whilst you think Grasser with a 4.4 second gap to the car in the second has this one sewn up for Team Monza Racing, Anexion Alex is reeling in the Thunderlight's car of Alvaro as there's a penalty for AGT Alex, and that could spell the end for his P4 hopes, as he'll likely get passed by Franfei in the Hydra car. Bit of revenge for earlier on in this one. But as we say, Anexion Alex is reeling in Alvaro Heroes P2 here on the new softs compared to Alvaro, who's been on more softs.
Yeah, and it's one of those where it makes sense, right? It makes sense, the strategy, when you go and you look at it. There's a penalty for Franfei as well, so it doesn't look like AGT are going to lose the position at all, but they are going to drop heavily off the back of the podium, both of them, as Franfei is actually going to go for the move now, and he's gone for the move, he's gone ahead of the AGT car, and these two are going to squabble their way out of the podium contention.
They are absolutely, and it's a bit of a side-by-side battle for P6 as well. Seku is wheeling that car incredibly well. EPLF have been nowhere all season, but he manages to get by Maziga for P6. If you see a replay of that move by Franfei, easy as you like, it was done even before the braking zone had taken place. Franfei moving up into P4, and that is the battle for P4 now, both with penalties. As Alex, in between all of that, we've missed it completely. Our next in Alex has managed to get by Alvaro for P2 as well, so we have a change in the podium offing, and the Annexian car using the lap extra soft to his advantage to get by Alvaro. Sadly, the replay we're seeing here after the move is being made, I think everyone caught everyone out, including those in the production booth as well. Don't blame you. Action everywhere you look on the racetrack in a moment, but that does mean that Alex for Annexian is up into P2 ahead of Alvaro in P3. We've seen flashes of brilliance from him through the season. I remember commentating round 2 about Panorama, and he had a thrilling battle for race win with Gunza for Owls and the 292 cars as well, who are 92 your championship leaders, so he definitely does have the pace. Garassa, meanwhile, he hasn't been able to make that battle work in his favour. He's still only 4 seconds clear out front. It should be enough, but that gap has actually come down, even if it's only by a tenth of a second. As you say, barring a major incident, it should be enough for him to come home with a race win. But Alex definitely does have the pace compared to the 2 cars around him, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him wheel off with P2 ahead of Alvaro.
Yeah, he should absolutely, with the tyre advantage, even in just a lap or 2 is enough to give him a substantial tyre advantage here for Alex. Le Mans is a long lap. It's like, what, the 3rd longest lap, I think, on the game outside of St. Croix and the Nordschleife. So it's one of those where it could easily drain that time very quickly, especially at the front, if and only if Alex can get this right.
Penalty for Alvaro as well, 1 second, and that could basically spell the end for his hopes of getting P2, who's going to drop back a second, and Alex, who's already the quicker car of the battle for second at the moment, is going to canter away out into P2, and that could spell the end for the Lights car and their efforts for the second spot on the podium. But they'll definitely take a P3 finish. Thunderlights are my doctors heading into the season, and whilst they have shown flashes of brilliance, they've been unable to really keep it consistent. But an outside battle for the Bronze Rockets Championship doesn't look out of the question. Looking through the rest of the field, we'll just bring you up to date. Garassa in the lead. He does pick up a penalty, but it's only half a second. As you say, Le Mans, not the shortest lap in the world, so that could bring Garassa maybe even closer back to the Alexian car of Alex, but he is in the race lead by 3.9 seconds as things stand. Alex in P2 for Alexian, Alvaro P3 with the 1.5 second penalty now for Thunderlights. P4 Franfei for Hydro Sport, now a second clear of the AGT Alex car. P6, fantastic effort for Seku in the EPLF car, who's gone 3 seconds clear now of Maziga in P7 in the Maniacs Revolution machine. Toto Coco's had a fantastic effort after a major incident at the start of the race to get up to P8 for your championship leading Deluxe Esports team, although they will not be the championship leaders after this race. Potentially saying that MSSV in the Nexus car, I think that they've stumbled upon a battle here as he looked to maybe overtake the Deluxe car back into P8, but as it stands, the Nexus car of MSSV in P9 goes very wide there. Wow, that's not the ideal racing line, and that's allowed Toto Coco to pull a 1.3 second gap there. Major drama here. We'll get a look at the replay here. He did try to go side by side heading into the first set of chicanes at the Mulsanne. Did he just get the tail out by the looks of things?
They both got it wrong here. Look, Coco there in the first part. This is what I was originally spotting, and then obviously the absolute, well, the car being a little bit more traumatic in the hands of MSSV in 9th place there, and now he's going to be just tailed off just a little bit. 3.5 is the gap between Alex and Garassa. That's come down 4/10 of a second in a corner or 2 here, and is about to come down by pretty much another entire second as well. Alvaro in the background of the shot there will serve his 1.5. Let's see what the gap is going to be between the leader and second place going forward here then. It is under it's under 3 seconds, under 2 2/3 seconds, about 2.6 to the line toward the end of lap 7 here, and I think Garassa might have a little bit more to defend than he would like to.
Absolutely, it's 4 seconds at the start of this lap. Say Alex picks up half a second worth of pace on Garassa by virtue of having the lap near the softs and his opponent now in front, and Garassa picks up another penalty. Lest we forget, he only picks up half a second. He might pick up a second penalty in the final lap of this one. It could be game on here, folks. This is by no means a foregone conclusion. Garassa looks comfortable out with 2.3 seconds, but that gap is coming down, and another penalty as we cross the line to start the final lap, the metaphorical white flag being waved, that could signal game on here as the battle for the race win between Monza Racing and Annexion. And saying that, Alex is only improving, fastest lap of the race, 3:37.5 for the Annexion driver. He is in the hunt for this win.
I was about to say, at the end of the penalty, it was about 2.5 seconds. It's now down to 2.1. It's not over yet. It's one mistake away from being in Alex's clutches here for Annexion, who desperately need the momentum shift after a very poor Abu Dhabi. They would absolutely, they would adore a win here, but I don't know if they're going to get it. Garassa's just starting to turn on the jets at the start of this lap here.
Yeah, I think the main thing for Grassa is he just needs to keep it clean. I think if he just goes a lap without a penalty, even a slightly slower lap should be 2.2 seconds worth of pace differential between him and Alex. But we said that before, he managed to pick up a penalty. He's under pressure here. He'll be thinking to himself in his head, I need to get this lap perfect. I can't afford to pick up a penalty. And that can play silly games with your mind. We could well see a penalty here for Grassa, and if he does pick one up, it's definitely game on for the race win here between him and the Annexion car of Alex. Looking further back, I did mention Toto Coco has managed to get moved on MSSV and pull that gap out. Alvitada car of Alberto GL Pro in P10. It's been another really disappointing race for the Jokers E team. They've had an array of incidents, plus just really poor race pace. Actually, in fact, I don't recall them being in any real form of incident through this one. I think it's just been poor race pace from Mace at the front of that wheel. He is currently running P11, and in the clutches of Dresch, who had a great race for control at the time, but an incident has cost him dearly. There is still a potential fight for position for P11, but it's slim pickings for the two cars at the back. But meanwhile, out in front, that gap between Garassa and Alex has now come below the 2-second mark.
Yeah, the Garassa, as we said, was the key. It's just keeping it safe. It's not necessarily a pace gap that's coming down here. It's simply just Garassa staying within the white line and not chancing anything at all here. It will be a little bit awkward on the exit of the corner as we head down towards Indianapolis. The gap will continue to tumble down, but it's probably, barring an error, is going to be too late here as Garassa looks to be in control of the final lap with about half a lap to go as we head down towards Indianapolis here then. With the Italian out front, Alex 1.8 seconds behind and still chasing, not ready to give it up just yet. The gap continues to come down to head towards the penalty line. It just looks like with a couple of sectors to go though, Alex would have needed an extra lap to realistically put the pressure on.
Absolutely. If they, as you say, maybe one more lap even, and this could be a completely different race. The fuel looks similar. It looks like they're going to be safe out to the line just about 1.5 seconds. The gap now, I would be surprised if this isn't less than a second by the time the checkered flag comes out. But as you say, it's Garassa out in front. Team Monza Racing had an incredible start to the season with just Simo picking up a podium at Deep Forest Raceway and the fastest lap of the week, giving them an extra 2 bonus points. They've had a fantastic end to the season as well, the regular season, picking up their first race win of the season and being the only Bronze Rockets team in this field to pick up a regular season win at Abu Dhabi with just Simo at the wheel. Garassa's had an inconsistent season. He's been flailing, but this could be the moment that reignites Team Monza Racing's championship campaign for the Bronze Rockets as he comes round the final set of corners now. That gap isn't coming down any further. It's been a valiant effort from Alex and the Annexion team, but it's going to be Garassa and Team Monza Racing who pick up the first race win of the Bronze Rockets playoffs. 1.3 seconds behind. A great effort from Alex to take home P2 for Annexion. Alvaro comes home P3 for Thunderlights, 3.5 seconds ahead of Fran Fay, who had an eventful race to come home P4 for Hydro Wrench for AGT Alex. It'll be a case of what could have been for the AGT team as they come home in P5. Spare a mention for Seku in P6 as well, picking up EPLF's first top half finish of the season. Maziga comes home in P7 for Maniacs Revolution. Toto Coco had an instant stream race. He comes home P8 with MSSV behind Nexus and P9, just about fending off Alberto in P10 for Avitada Racing Team. Joker's E-Team with Mace come home in P11, 1.1 seconds ahead of Dresch for control of the time, who was unable to get home ahead of his counterpart for Jokers. But what an eventful first race. Maybe not the most eventful in terms of action on track, but that has really given us, Pyro, a look into the strategy for future races.
It really has, hasn't it? It's going to be a lot different to the 5-3 that we were expecting it to be. That's a certain. The first one that we expected, the first strategy that was put to us in the commentary booth with the 3-5 with the softs, and that clearly doesn't work. That very clearly is not the strategy you're going to be able to pull off here. And the 4-4 looked extremely good. He's starting on the medium tyres. Garassa was in control of that from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we've seen here, as we take a look at the provisional race standings, of course, it is worth noting that we've had a ridiculous amount of penalty complaints through the regular season put towards Alejandro Garnata and the Boffins at the Mac 25 Gaming. Turismo, believe, being led by Nico Romero, former Gran Turismo World Series driver, so they're going to be busy buddies by the end of the week. So this is, of course, provisional, but it does look like a race that could well be won in the pit lane, because there's been massive deferrals of strategy, that's absolutely for sure. But it is Garassa who picks up where Simo left off last week at Abu Dhabi and takes home their second race win in as many weeks, only in the Bronze Rockets tier, of course. That will undoubtedly put them in the championship lead, because their championship opponents, that they were split between 1 point. It was AGT who come home P5. Alex just on the wrong strategy on the day, to be honest. And Toto Coco, that first lap incident for Deluxe Esports, completely ruined their chances of gunning for the race win, and they come home still decent enough to come home in P8. Now, I'm getting the signal from our technicians that we're going to go to a break. I will be back for the Golden Rockets race, final one of the evening, but I'm going to take a race off. Pyro will return in a few minutes' time with our first special guest of the evening to take us through the Silver Rockets race. We'll see you in town.
Yeah. Finna get it. Watch me. Finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. Used to know me when I nothing in my pockets. Now they see me and they talking, always watching. I remember when you said I wouldn't make it. Now you mad because I took it, didn't fake it. Pressing every day, yeah, I was patient. Putting all that work, no hesitation. Now I'm getting everything I'm chasing. Look at me now, yeah, I'm elevation. Finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. See me pulling up, they switching how they acting. Back then, you weren't here when I was lacking. Now you want a piece of what I'm stacking. But I remember everything that happened. Keep it moving, ain't no time for all that talking. I've been running to the bag, I'm never walking. They've been sleeping, I've been up until the morning. Now I'm winning and there ain't no way I'm falling. Finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out.
She's got Finley's face. just going staring at Finley's face. Hello, welcome back, everyone. It's Pyro in the booth for the Silver Rockets race, the second race of the night, and I am joined by our first very special guest of the evening and of the playoffs as a whole, and it is gonna be Marty with us today just to go through the Silver Rockets race. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very good. Very excited to watch the race because there are a lot of drivers that could be on the Golden Division by his skill level, but they are here for some reasons, and let's see how it goes.
Fair enough. And we've got a few things. I'm interested. I'm intrigued because obviously my team, one of the teams that were actually in the was slated to be in the Bronze Rockets, snuck in on the final day. So. And we were talking, I was talking with Finley earlier about momentum being a fairly massive thing in the world of racing, especially in seasons like this where you get toward the end of it. Who have you got your eye on for this race in particular?
Especially, I will go out with Mehdi, the alien driver. Very skillful, many times World Tour driver. And also with Chuaco and Charles. Yes, let's watch that three people.
That's fair. Oh, that didn't look good. I think Gana just closed the lobby. That's not a great sign. So we'll figure out how that is going on in a second. But I think I'm looking more. I'm intrigued to see what my team can do. I will admit that because obviously they are coming in as we have absolutely nothing to lose. Because they just didn't expect to be here in the first place anyway. But outside of that, yeah, I think Alien are probably going to be the ones that I'm kind of paying a lot of attention to, I think might be the best way of putting it, just to see what is going to happen as we go toward the end of the season.
Yeah.
When you're going through a lap of Le Mans, right, obviously, driven a lot of these tracks, a lot of laps around these tracks in particular. Talk me through the nuances that around the track like Le Mans that maybe the average driver ain't gonna.
I mean, this track is very special, very long track, very difficult to nail a lap. Mostly for the track limits we have here. The two chicanes on the straight are a good point to get a penalty, and that on the super pole, it would be crucial to have a good lap there.
Yeah, it absolutely will, because obviously, as we saw, even with just the 5-minute shootout that we had with the Bronze Rockets that we just had a minute ago, mistakes are crucial. If you get the penalties wrong later on into the lap, then you lose it in its entirety. So I can imagine. Starting from the back here would not be the greatest situation to have in a race such a caliber of this, anyway. But yeah, I am I am looking forward to seeing what everyone's going to do here. So we've got 5 minutes worth of, for those that are new to the stream, we've got 5 minutes worth of qualifying again for the Silver Rockets here, as Finley described earlier on. So we will very much keep it running once Ganata is going to actually have the lobby up. I don't know if you've seen, if you can see if he's got a lobby up yet. I don't think he has. But yeah, it's going to be a fairly interesting qualifying session. We'll see if anyone's going to be out of place. But obviously, this will in the top end of the goal, well, in the middle of the Golden Rockets at the moment. What are you looking at strategy-wise for tonight?
As we saw the first race, the two compounds available are soft and medium, but I think some drivers can push the soft more than others because of the tire wear. And I think that's going to make the difference between finishing maybe P1 or P2 and more at the back.
That's fair. Would you, because obviously me and Finley debated this at fair length in the first race. The room's still unavailable. But we debated this at the first, to great length for the first race. Are you potentially looking at starting on the softs, or would you be looking at the mediums given the overall like arch of the race as a whole?
I think it depends. If you start at the very front, I think you should consider starting on the soft. I think it's like you can't have a very clean race with that because you're gonna have no traffic. And if you have to battle someone, it will be like at the end of the race when you have the mediums and the other drivers have the softs. But if you have pure pace and you think you can do it well doing that, I think you should go to the soft first.
Fair enough. That is interesting because yeah, I've been a fair advocate of. I'm the kind of guy that loves going to the mediums first on a race like this to have the softs at the end to kind of recover that kind of gap that creates at the start. Also, given the fact that the first lap you are battling essentially, aren't you? Realistically, you're kind of just fighting for position, so you don't really lose as much time on that lap 1 on the medium tires as you would, I don't know, maybe lap 8, for example, on mediums.
More or less. The problem with the soft is it have a lot of tire wear, but on the first lap it's so much faster than the medium, maybe 2 or 3 seconds. So that's a good point to have in mind.
We'll see how everyone approaches this. Have you been able to join Ganata's
yes, I'm trying to join, but I'm having problems also.
Yeah, about to say he is definitely it's definitely not working for me. I'll tell you that much. We'll continue. We'll keep trying. See how he is. See if we can actually get into it. I don't know if I've had anything from chat yet. I don't think I have had anything from Ganata to say what is going on.
Also, because on the first lobby we have Garasa on the pole with a time of 38.6. Do you think someone will beat that, and by how much time?
I personally think it'll be beaten by quite a distance, and that is not slandering Garasa at all from Team Honda Racing. But when you look at the caliber of drivers, you keep going up. Right, so we saw, I think it was a 38.6, I think it was, from Garasa in the first lobby. I would be surprised if we see if pole is inside, like in the 38s, if that makes sense. I think it's going to be maybe a bit quicker than that. Maybe, I think 36 might be a little bit ambitious, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was hit at the same time.
The 36, I know on Golden that I will race after this.
Yeah. What time are you looking to do then?
I mean, the perfect lap will be maybe 35, 36 low, but it should be possible to see here some 36. I mean, it's super pole, anything can happen, so it's very tricky to get the lap done just in one.
Yeah, obviously you getting it done in one is the issue here, isn't it? Because you can be as good a driver as humanly possible, or you can be at the top all the time and you're still human. A mistake can happen, and if a mistake happens here, then, well, you're probably saying goodbye to your entire lap time, realistically. So I can definitely see it. I can definitely see where a lot of drivers are going to be potentially causing themselves problem. I think it's more causing themselves problems than causing other people problems in this qualifying session at the very least.
Yes.
So again, I lobby up. Look like we have pretty much everyone joined, which is a good start. We'll see. I think Simon just joined. Magic has just joined for Alien there. I think he's the only one.
We are all working.
Beautiful. We'll see how long Gunnar is going to leave. Oh, Magic's left. Never mind. Never mind. We'll have to wait for Magic then, I assume, if he's the one driving. Apparently got 15 minutes till qualifying.
Okay,
But-
no. It's entering now Black 19 from Alien also. Colombian driver, I think. So that will be
Interesting.
interesting to see.
That'll be very interesting to see. We got a little bit more of a range of nationalities instead of seeing the Spanish Armada, as we saw in the first race. Yeah, you did Alien Black there. It's the Colombian driver. You got Rodri, the Argentinian. You've got the Polish team, obviously, of Elite Racing Squad with Bezzy and Nick. So it's going to be a fairly, and obviously a decent amount of the French, Medi, Punisher, Fox, all of them trying to get themselves into decent positions. So you're saying that we're looking at 36s for pole. And I know you said that Medi was the one one of the ones you were watching earlier. Are you of the opinion then that Medi's going to get pole with a 36 then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the prediction from you then. I wish I would be able to disagree, but I'm looking down the list here, and I don't. I just flat out don't disagree with that statement in the slightest. I wonder if the Alien teammate or Alien Black can give him enough of enough backup in this kind of format to see if they can get themselves toward the top of Silver Rockets.
That's another thing I wanted to speak with you about. We haven't seen a lot of teamwork during the qualifying and also the race in the bronze division. Do you think we will be watching here some teamwork?
Yeah, we got it. We have got to in this situation see teamwork between the teams, because realistically, on the Bronze Rockets division, it's 12 teams, 12 single drivers, basically, where you're not as inclined to work with the teams that you are around because your mindset is to beat them. If you're going to beat them, you're going to gain more points, you're going to try and win that Bronze Rockets, right? Here is not so much, because you're going to have to work together with at least your teammate to make sure that the times are looking as they should be. But also, it might be the case that if you find yourself maybe out of whack a little bit, especially in the race with your teammate, you're going to look to help another team. I would personally look to help another team, because we saw in the first race, squabbling is going to cost you a bit too much time. What do you think?
I mean, the last part of the track is a very tricky section with the ports, curves, and all of that. The last chicanes, to be more specific. And that, the dirty air that the car in front can make in your car, you can lose a lot of time, and losing the car also. That
That's
will be
true. Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from with that. The dirty air is going to play a massive part at the end of the day, isn't it, when you get through to the end? But is it worth suffering the dirty air at the end of the lap for the exorbitant amount of slipstream and working together you can get done in the first half of the lap all the way down towards Indianapolis?
For the quali,
As a whole.
But for the race, yes, 100%. Because Slipstream also gives you the situation to save a lot of fuel that we have seen on the bronze division that a lot of people will have not that in mind
Yeah.
on the bronze division, and I think here is gonna be crucial for the race. Maybe we can see someone that is it's saving a lot of fuel and maybe only box for tires and not for fuel.
Oh, you think they can save that much?
Let's see. I don't know.
I assume this is going to be fairly crucial, information for you later on, for later on this race in particular, especially if that's the opinion where you think people would be able to save that much. That's insane, given the fact that what we saw in the first race, they weren't even particularly close. Everyone had to refill maybe 20-25% up at the end of the lap, at the end of lap 6, I think it was when they came in, end of lap 5 rather, sorry, when they came in. So if you think you can save that much, then are you just, is this then a race of biding your time rather than anything else?
Yes, that exact thing. You can, I think, for not fueling on the pit stop is like 3 or 4 seconds that you gain. So yeah, if you can save that time by going smooth on the curves, on the straights, also do a little bit of short shifting, you can manage to stay good with that strategy.
That's fair enough. That's interesting, because that indicates that these next 2 races in particular are going to be very different to what we saw at the start of the of the session, of the entire night, rather than say the session. Like, we've not changed sessions already, but it's going to be a very interesting one to see then how different each race progresses, because obviously the guys at the front, the guys in the Golden Rockets like yourself, are going to be thinking of things very differently to what we've seen so far then.
Yes, exactly. And I think that maybe the difference on each division is not like the raw pace the drivers had in the different division, but also the mentality they have and how they approach a race. Do you know?
Yeah, I do understand that, and it's one thing I have gathered from when I'm watching commentary, in particular, like when I'm doing commentary all around, that everyone, you can tell the difference in the driver by just the kind of style that they take when it comes to driving, because everyone at the top is thinking 1,000 things a minute and still managing to hit a corner and an apex exactly the way that they want to. And is it just that kind of decision making, that quick decision making, that kind of splits the two, splits a normal driver from like the World Series level driver?
Exactly.
We've got qualifying up and running here then, so we'll see if we get any working together whatsoever. Sigma's gone off to see if we can get if he can get himself a little bit of a gap. I don't blame him for that, because we saw in the first race in particular between Fanfei and I can't remember the other car, but they went together on the qualifying lap right at the end of it, and caused Fanfei to get a penalty, and it wasn't particularly too clean. So are you looking, how much of a gap are you realistically looking to have in qualifying here between the car in front of you around Le Mans?
I mean, the objective of being together with your teammate, it's obviously the 2 straights we have between the chicanes. So I think 7 to 8 tenths, it should be okay.
So you're looking not quite the second mark, but a little bit less, so just so you can keep tabs and keep the slipstream going the entire way down.
But I don't think anyone will do it here. Let's see.
Okay, so we got a little bit of a bold prediction here then, to see how the difference between difference between how everyone is going to run this qualifying session. It looked like Sigma and Zhouko has managed to get themselves a little bit of a platform to get themselves off and running for when qualifying actually starts. It looked like Sigma has just left everybody. And what's your thoughts on this from Sigma then? Because he's very clearly just electing to go by himself to try and get as much ground without being hindered in any way. So what's your opinion on that kind of strategy?
Sigma, fun fact, he's driving with DualSense, so not a wheel player. I mean, we can see the difference between the first drivers that are going. For example, Sigma, Charles, Chuaco, and then, for example, Mr. Alf on the back, fueling a lot, like he's burning some fuel for the Super Pole. That's also a good strategy, but you might have some traffic if you are the last. So that's another point to have.
And also, got to play careful with the amount of time he's going to burn up here, because obviously with the Silver Rockets, it's not quite Super Bowl, but it's the 5-minute shootout around Le Mans. And I personally think if you waste too much time here, you might get caught out right at the end, which obviously you don't want, because if you start without a lap time, then you start from the back and you cause yourself all sorts of problems in that regard.
Yeah, not good. No one wants to start early.
It's one
Like
of those, though. First couple of corners at Le Mans is not necessarily the cleanest set of corners you'll ever see. So when we say that nobody wants to start at the back, is there a potential argument to say that might be the safest if there's carnage in front? Or is it just flat, you just want to avoid the back of the grid at all costs?
The thing is, I will not want to be in the middle, because there are a lot of cars, very tricky cars to drive. So much horsepower, so much torque they have on the low gears. So yeah,
That's
let's
fair.
see how.
All right, we've got first laps up and running here then. So everyone is now on their lap time. Just going to double check with Alfie to see if he's going to make it to the line in time. Yeah, he will do, but he'll be with about 19 seconds left on the clock in the 5-minute session. He's surprisingly not that far behind a couple of drivers. So he got a little bit further forward, and that is Medi and Black. They're working together at the back of the grid, so we'll see how much that's going to play effect. Medi's the lead car. If you are working with your teammate, here's a question. Working with your teammate, would you rather be the lead car or the following car?
I prefer to be the lead car, not the one who is at the back, because I prefer clean air for the qualifying.
So you just want to try and do, Medi just about keeping it together. You want to keep things as unhampered as humanly possible. Medi got a penalty. Medi has a penalty.
Oh, my.
Prediction out the window already. Yeah, something tells me you might not be doing a 36 for a penalty. I don't know about that one. We'll go back to the front with Sigma, because Sigma is here already down towards the end of the Mulsanne Straits, and we'll see what kind of times are going to be the benchmark here.
I will say that if you made a 37 medium, like 0.5, 0.6, you should be good around the P4, P5, maybe positions in the podium also.
Yeah, obviously with Medi's penalty as well, it's going to help out just that a little bit more.
I will not... Oh, sorry.
No, that's it. I wasn't going to add anything informative. What were you going to add to that?
Apart from the penalty, I will not say that Medi is completely out of the qualifying, because he is making a very good lap apart from that penalties, and with that half a second, I think you only lose like 0.8 seconds, so maybe he can save that lap.
So it's going to be a case of how much did he have in hand before that penalty kind of hits, is what you're kind of thinking here. That is bad. My
team doing the teamwork we have spoken about, and if the two drivers are together by now from the lap, it means that the lap is not going so bad. So let's see. Let's see. We're about to see people come to the line here then. So we're about to get
an idea of where we're going to be finding everyone on the grid. Sigma, the first one up to the line. As he rounds the final corner, it is a 38, 39, 39, 2. Does not seem to be too good in comparison to half the times we've seen already in the bronze rockets. Never mind what we're about to see in the silver rockets. Chow, the next one up, 37, 38, 38, 5, 7 tenths ahead of his teammate. Zhao next.
Big oversteer there on the last corner.
Nixo's got a penalty. Nixo's got a penalty.
3,000 only with Betsy. Okay, the two guys from 5.6. Very close. 4,000 with Charles.
Yeah, it definitely is. So top three separated by a tenth of a second. I expected the 38 to not be the top of the grid at the moment, but we've still got a bit and a few big names to come across. 38-2 there for Illy. Rodri as well. Rodri had a bad lap. So did Medi. Oh, that penalty might have done a lot more than you thought it might.
Yes, that's true. And more with that times that are so close. Okay,
yeah.
So
we were very wrong, is what I've gathered from that session. 38-2 being Paul. I don't think either of us saw that one coming.
Yeah, that's true.
Very, very slow compared to what we thought might be the case. I think that was only, about 4 tenths quicker than Garasa overall?
Yes, Garasa did 0.6.
It would have been enough for round about where Fox is in P4. And I was about to say, I want to point out while we see this qualifying list on the right-hand side here, I want to point out my team again, because obviously they had the race in Abu Dhabi where they ended up winning that Group 3 race when that had Vanquish and Azteca in it. And now they're 2nd and 4th in Silver Rockets. They are on fire right now.
Yeah, I can give my team and customs are in a very good position to start the race and cooperate, and maybe cooperate if they have the possibility.
That is fair. Right, so how long are we going to get from Gunnar before we hit the actual race itself? So 8 laps. I'll go to you first, and they'll give me a little bit more time to think. With the situation as it is, who do you think is going to win this race then?
I think now I'm with you. Any of my team guys can win it, but if I have to choose one, I will choose Punisher.
Yeah, okay. I know a lot about Punisher when it comes to the last couple of weeks. He is definitely enjoying these kind of cards. That's a certain. I'm going to go out there a little bit here. And I know you said earlier that you wouldn't really want to be in the middle of the pack. But I'm actually going to go with Alien Black in 5th place currently, I think, to push toward the front, potentially win this race. And the reason I think that is obviously my team have 2 in front, but they are essentially an unknown quantity in the Silver Rockets because they quite frankly didn't think they'd be here, even going into last week Abu Dhabi. I don't know if the rest of the team had enough, the rest of the guys out front being on their own have enough to stop Alien, to be honest with you.
It's quite fun to see that one driver from Avalon is like on the pole, and the other it's on the 9th position. It's difficult to set the strategy to the race because you can think that Guille can slow down the guys in the front to Rodri to keep up with the pace and maybe have an opportunity at the final, but
it's going to take a lot though when you realize that Rodri's got to overtake a quite significant number of cars from back there. It's going to take a lot for that, realistically, for Rodri to be able to do anything in this one. So I think he's going to have to go alone here. Let's have a look. We're about to set up to the line here then. as we get ready for the race in its entirety. 8 laps around Le Mans. We're all but ready to go with the lights. Mediums for Gilly out front. Punisher on the mediums. It looks mediums the entire way down the grid with 5 red lights. It lights out, away we go. Who's going to get the better start here? The answer looks to have been the Avalon guy at the front. Gilly has got himself straight up into the lead, and it looks like Charles has got a better start from P3 as he's overtaken Punisher. Black looking for a position up into P3 as well.
Oh,
Little bit of carnage on the way through. I think Black's just dropped down. I think Black's just dropped a couple of positions there. He dropped all the way to 7th on the inside, heading out the Dunlop curve. Fox is here as well. As he started in the top 4, and there's a bit of a collapse here from the alien driver straight away.
big start for Chuaco going into the P4. Oh, Black.
That's not good. Black's round. Black's round. And I think it was Alf that got. I think it was Mr. Alf that caught him at the back of the grid there. Oh, there goes my prediction in the space of 2 corners. That is absolutely... Well, that's the worst case scenario for Alien, realistically, off the start, isn't it?
Okay, the driver that gained the most position right now, I think it's Chuaco from the P8 to the P4, and now in a very good position to save fuel.
Yeah,
And
Medi is well behind him.
Sadly, let's see if he's gonna push Punisher or no.
No, they were not seeing the team working together here then.
Maybe P5 also.
They're just going for moves down into the second and the Mulsanne. Okay then, so we're getting no love lost between any of the teams so far in this race, and Zhao goes up into 3rd. He's overtaken Punisher straight away, and Medi's in 5th. Sigma had a look at him, but hasn't really had much of a chance to do anything with it. And, well, it looked like the Avalon guy, Gilly out front, has not really had too much to defend on the first lap.
Yeah, that's a surprise, because you can think that... Also, Charles is the type of driver that I think it prefers to... Okay, no, he's trying to overtake, so...
It looks like he's going for it. He's going for it. Here we go, Charles to the inside. We'll get back to your point about Charles in a second. Did he going to get himself into the lead? A little bit of contact between the two of them. Is there going to be move on? It looks like he has maybe just about a car left. He does, down into Indianapolis. He got it. And he's up into the lead then. And he should be able to hold it from here.
It's very important to stay in front on the last sector of the track because of the fast curves we have. A lot of dirty air coming. We will see that the cars will separate, surely a second away from each other.
Yeah, just to get a little bit of an easier push, I guess, against the car that they're trying to fight. Here we go, Zhao up into 2nd, then the Avalon driver in 3rd is just starting to falter already down the grid. Punisher in 4th, Medi is the next car up there. Oh, that didn't look good in the slightest. For Gilly there in 3rd, he is just slowly but surely dropping down the grid and doesn't look comfortable in that car in the slightest right now. And continue on into the final sector. They're going to be anything from Sigma in 5th place here against Medi. Doesn't look like anyone's going for the move just there and then as they continue through the final lap, through the final couple of corners on the first lap, rather. So if you are in the middle here, and I know we said, oh, that didn't look good, hold on, before I ask you the question, what happened there? It looked like Fox had a bit of an issue. He dropped down a couple of positions. Sigma in front of him. I think there was a couple of problems further back as well. Fox had the penalty. Almost hitting the back. Oh! More contact!
With Guille. Maybe tries the... Oh,
see if we can figure it out.
Other start for the My Team, guys. Not the start you want to for this type of race.
No,
Charles
and I
need more fuel than the guys at the back. They can see it.
Let's have a look.
Let's see.
He is burning more fuel. You can see it. Yeah, you can go further down, and there's a lot more fuel the entire way down the grid compared to what Charles has out front. To your point that you made earlier on about the fuel saving seems to have kind of come to fruition a little bit here already. It looked like we might have a move a little bit further back. It looked like Gilly was going for a little bit of a look on Medi, who's up in a fourth already, and well, between him and Zhao is starting to make that way up the grid. That didn't look confident in the slightest from Medi out of the first of the Mulsanne. You can imagine that sliding like that's going to be a bit problematic because you go forward in this race.
Also, Mr. Alf that was catching like the pack in the middle, a penalty that is gonna cost a lot from him because it was almost on the pack now behind Rodri, but now with that.
Oh yeah, he's going to get separated, isn't he? Off the back of this grid, so we're going to lose another one.
Let's see if someone tries to do 6 laps with the soft.
So you think someone's going to attempt 6?
Oh,
Okay.
because back right there, consume Guille and Fox.
That would be that. Let's get a little bit of a look, see if there's anything that we missed. We headed down the okay, we're not getting it from that camera angle, I'll tell you that much. The camera angle just put the replay about 20 years further back than what we needed it. We got Sigma trying to go after Gilly here as he looks for move, but isn't really able to get it. Medi trying to go after Punisher as well, battle the Frenchman for the final spot on the podium right now. How long if you're Medi, how long are you leaving this before you have a little bit of a lunge at Punisher? Because I think it's getting to the point where Punisher's probably the bottleneck at the moment rather than anything else.
Yes. Here in this situation, you have to decide if the car in front is going at the pace you want and it's going fast. If it can help your race. Oh, big oversteer there from Medi. Okay, save it.
Yeah,
if the car in front can help you with the race, you should try to save fuel a little bit. But if the car in front is not helping you, it's going more slow than you, and I think you should go for the overtake.
Yeah, that is fair. We're just going on a little bit there to make sure that the screen has just popped off. But yeah, Punisher managed to get himself a small version of separation from Medi at the moment. Medi clearing a little bit more to the Avalon driver behind. But if you're looking at this race and you're looking at Child, this has got to be perfect for you, right?
Yes, at the moment, yes. Let's see at the pit stop if going that fast can help you, or the other guys have say more fuel can outrun you after.
Realistically, how much do you think the gap has to be before fuel becomes not necessarily an irrelevant factor, but to the point where you're not really going to be able to jump anyone from it? And what do you think the gap is for that?
Maybe 3-4 seconds he have to get.
Okay, so about 4 seconds. That's about roughly just over double what the gap for Charles is right now. Medi is flashing Punisher, and he's actually going to help him. That's the first bit of teamwork we've seen so far today in either race. I'm not too surprised that's come from Medi, to be honest with you. I think Medi is one of those that, a little bit of sliding from him and Punisher on the exit of the Mulsanne. So first of the Mulsanne, we'll see how they can react from that. Medi is going to catch up to the back of Punisher again, gives him another bump draft, and this just makes sense to me. This makes sense to me. You're at Le Mans. You've got to work together in this situation to catch Zhao at the very least.
Maybe after this chicane, he can make the move then, because like you can use the driver in front on the first two of the first two straights on the first chicane, and then he can like use the movement he has behind him and see if he. No.
Oh, he might be actually a bit of under fire at the back of the shop there. It looked like I think that was Sigma. Sorry, just trying to get through things.
Yes.
it's all over the place in the middle of the field here. It looks like Sigma has managed to get a half-second penalty as well.
Nixon with a big one. 1.5, that is like 3 seconds maybe, so he's gonna go with Mr. Alf, probably.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He's certainly going to get jumped by Rodri. And Mr. Alf's got a penalty as well in the background. I don't know if you saw that flash up. Mr. Alf has a half-second as well. So Nixo is well and truly going to drop off the back here. The problem is he might detach Rodri from the group as well, but in the process of just trying to exist in front of Rodri until the penalty line.
Let's see, Charles, because the 4 seconds we have said before, now we are getting closer to that, so...
Let's have a look.
Let's see if Sigma with penalty. Oh, maybe 3 wide? No.
Here we go. Bezzy, Fox, Sigma. Sigma lost out with a couple of places off the penalty. Fox is ahead. Bezzy the head. They go down the wall into the Porsche curve. It's the Polish that lead the train in the moment here. They have you can see again. We go on to Bezzy's point of view here. There is small separation starting to form in the groups here because you can see third, fourth, and fifth are barely clear. The Polish here.
Okay, Chuaco boxing. Charles stay out. But Chuaco.
Bezzy is coming as well.
And Rodri also. Nixo. Mr. Alf also. And yes. We have 5 guys that have...
Alright, so everyone off the medium tyres then. That is pit so far. 4 or 5 drivers into the pits. Alien Black's going to stay out a little bit longer, albeit his race has pretty much been completely eradicated off the start of the race as a whole. Many in second now, then he's ahead of Punisher by just under a second. That didn't look good on the exit there at all, and the gap has just shrunk halfway straight away. So
Medi can get a penalty here. Let's see
if the game's going to pick up. Let's see if the game agrees with you. It doesn't look like he's going to get it. The game might have given him a little bit of favour there then, if you think he's gone over the line.
But Fox, he get one, so...
Yeah, Fox has half second.
Okay, no, Sigma decides to be more conservative.
I mean, if you're Sigma here, do you use... Oh, we got to keep the car on the track first. Got to keep the car on the track first. I was about to ask you if you'd use Fox to try and bridge that gap between you and the Avalon driver in 4th place, but I don't even know if he's going to get to Fox at this point.
The thing is that Guille has also the slipstream from Punisher, and Punisher has the one from Medi, but Medi, I think he's like pushing a little bit to try to catch up to Charles. Apart from the...
Oh, maybe a bit too hard. Maybe a bit too hard. There's a half-second penalty there for Medi.
Yeah. Okay, so that is gonna help Punisher and Guille a lot, because... Yeah, Medi's gonna lose about 8 tenths or maybe 1 second.
It might, yeah, about to say, it might cause a little bit more than that with the fact that they're going to be fighting Punisher straight away pretty much after that penalty. So those 3 are going to go at each other into the Porsche curve. So I wonder how everything is going to unfold here.
But from now, Charles, it has a very good race right now at the moment. So let's see if he can keep up with this.
Yeah, comfortable out front at the moment. Punisher just dropped to position Aguila as he goes to up into 3rd. The Avalon driver who started on pole has managed to keep himself in touch almost, or in touch with a barrier, but keeps it in touch as he goes back up into P3 and might be, with that little bit of a slide, too far away from Medi to really impact the fight here for P2.
Yeah. And maybe it was 1.2 seconds, and now, 4 tenths. Okay. But now the dirty air kicks in, and he should... Let's see if they work now, or they... It will
wait an extra lap. So you were concerned of whether or not people will try 6 on the soft. That definitely didn't happen. Everyone pitted at the end of, people pitted at the end of 3, so they're going to try 5 on the soft here at the very least. And now we've got the rest of the grid going to dip in. Charles is in, Medi is in, Gilead's in, Punisher's going to follow them. Same with Sigma. I think Fox has done the same. He has. Black is going to also jump into the pit. So we saw 5-3 for some, 3-5 rather, medium soft for some people, and the other, 7 people on the grid have done a 4-4.
Okay, the fuel is not gonna make a difference because 7 liters only the difference between Medi and Charles is not that big to gain the 5 seconds. Charles. Let's see, Chuaco right now, he might be leading. Yes, exactly.
He is.
But he has one more lap of the soft that at the end of the race, it can be crucial.
It's going to be very interesting now because Charles is obviously going to have that tire delta the entire way home.
More fuel also for Charles, maybe 10 liters.
It's going to, yeah, he put a lot more fuel, you're right. I wonder whether or not that means that Schalke might be a little bit under, or whether or not Charles is overfueled. We'll see how that. We'll see which answer that one is going down, going toward the end of the race here. How big do you think the tire delta that we currently are seeing between Charles and Schalke is, realistically, a lap to lap around Le Mans?
The first 3 laps, it shouldn't get that big, that gap between one lap use more than the other. But on the final lap, maybe on the 2 final laps, I think it's gonna make a big difference.
It's going to be one of those where Charles has to kind of stick in until the tires for Schalke gives up then.
Yes, maybe also with less fuel than Charles because he's now 3 seconds. Before the pit entry, it was like 5.7, so 3 seconds right there only for fuel.
Yeah, and you can see he's only on half fuel right now. Charles a little bit over the half fuel mark. So it is very interesting to see how much people have put in, given the fact that they're all driving the same car, obviously driving it a little bit different, and that's the nuances you were picking up on at the beginning of the race, isn't it? Where a different driver being in a different position on the track would think of a better way to get around the track than the car in front.
Sorry, I tell you, Fox has the line of the box penalty because he has 3 seconds, and Mr. Alf 2 seconds right there. So
that is a rough penalty to get. That's a rough penalty to get.
I don't know if he got it at the entry or after the box one. Yeah, 3 seconds right there is a lot to lose.
Yeah, it feels like it's fairly, correct me if I'm wrong here, obviously, but it feels like it's a fairly difficult track to get a pit lane penalty on, given the fact that it is literally just a chicane and then obviously a straight line on the exit. So I feel like if you get it on the exit, you may have messed up something rotten. Here comes Nixo to go past them both. Alf should get Fox as well. Oh, Willie. Willie. Fox is fighting this back. Look at this down the line. Okay, so Alfred got him just about. Took him a lot longer than it potentially should have.
The dirty air right there, we have spoken about before. Very bad for the tires also.
Yeah, and if they go, they're only going the 4, but it'll make the tires feel like they've gone 5 at the very least if they continue like this. That's a certain. Go back toward the front.
Also, Charles just on the back on the car with Chuaco, so 1 second right now.
Yeah, Charles had a significantly better lap than whatever Schalke put up on the last one. You can imagine that that tide's only going to turn one way as we go forward. I think Schalke may need Charles to get a penalty of some description. Otherwise, Charles is going to be a very, very tough customer to stop here.
Yeah. And I think Chuaco might not be thinking about Charles, like more about Medi and Betsy. right now.
Oh, okay. That's fairly interesting, because I can understand looking back towards Medi, because Medi's in a decent sort of range on the same kind of tire delta as Child is. You think Betty's going to have enough of a shot at Jalco come the end of this? Because he is a fairly substantial margin off the back of Medi at this point in time.
With Suaco and with Charles also, maybe, because he's just 1.5 seconds away from Charles. He has gained like 1 second the last lap from Charles, so if he can keep this pace, he will have the chance to win the race. Absolutely.
He's currently currently for half a second purple, so that definitely backs up your claim there. That's a certain. Beji, I think, might be a little bit too far off the back to really affect the podium, even potentially even the podium spots, depending on how well Medi's going to drive here. We go through with Jill. Is he going to go for a move? No, he's actually going to bump Beji. They head down the end of the second Mulsanne straight, and I do agree with this. I do think the teamwork is what's going to get you toward the end of this race in one piece, realistically, and potentially a podium spot as well.
Let's see.
We go back to the front. Charles versus Jalco, and it probably does go to what you were saying about Jalco being in a position where he doesn't really have a chance to think about Charles, because Charles is hunting him down very quickly on this lap.
He should make the move now because he's like revving the car a lot. Yes, we have it on there.
There you go. As you just said, he's going to go for it now. Charles up ahead of Jalco. Doesn't even have to wait for Indianapolis to hit before he manages to get it done. And that is going to be perfectly fine if you're Charles. You've got the tire delta the entire way. You've got a buffer to Medi with Jalco in the middle there. So as long as you can hold it together, no penalties, Charles should be in a fairly comfortable position, potentially, for the last couple of laps here.
For Charles, Chuaco is like his best friend now, because if he battles Medi, Charles secures the win 100% if he makes no mistakes. So let's see if Chuaco tries to fight Medi, or he's thinking about Betsy, Guille, and these two drivers that are picking up the position. Let's see.
Yeah. Jalco is not going to be able to hold on to Charles. The problem is, one thing's for certain, that Jalco is going to have to fight Medi at some point on lap 7 here. So we'll see whether or not... Oh, that didn't look good for Medi. That might be a penalty. I don't know if he went a little bit too deep there.
Let's see.
Looked like he might have got away with it. Looked like he had 4 wheels well over into the... off the curb anyway. Maybe I'm just seeing things at this point.
Fast lap, very important also. 1 point, I think it gives to the team that makes it. So yeah, for now, Charles, and I think no one will beat up because the tires are worse than before. So yeah.
Yeah, and Charles will take that 37. It's the first 37 we've seen all night. For good measure as well. So he's doing it in style. Medi's going to go after Jalco here. The problem for Charles is this is probably the worst part of the track that Medi can go after Jalco in. There's no defense here.
Because he can save a little bit of fuel or just directly overtake him, and I think is what he's going to do. Oh, okay.
He's going to bump him here, potentially move into the end of the chicane if he can get close enough. No, he looked like a little bit too far back to lunge into the chicane itself. So you're going to stick here.
He's going to wait before the last turn after the second chicane. Or maybe he does.
It's interesting because surely, especially into the chicane, I was about to say he's going to be losing time quite rapidly to Child, because Jalco is a lot slower at the point of attack with the extra tire wear. So I'm not too surprised that Medi's gone now. The real question is he able to hold it going into the end of the corner here, into the hairpin?
Let's see.
I think he should be able to. 0.4 of a second should be enough to hang on. Realistically, the end of this straight is not that long, I don't think.
From what I think, Chuaco has to save a little bit more of fuel because everyone is like on the 23, 20, 22 liters, but Chuaco has maybe big under oversteer from Eddie. As I was saying, Chuaco, I think, yes, he's short shifting using the blistering floor.
You can just look, even if we just go from Medi to Jalko 1 second, you can
Yes,
see
he's
the
lower.
level of, you can see the amount of tire that's going on there. Are you going to go for this? There's no way Jalko goes for this. One thing's certain, we might see a car overtaking the car behind.
Guille and Bexy also working together to try to catch Chuaco, so...
Kicking up a lot of dirt to do it as well. As you look through here, is he going to go for this, Julie? I don't think he is. I think he's just content sitting behind Bezzy and sliding his car out into the penalty line.
Sigma 1 second penalty also. Rodri, okay, he's gonna get passed by Rodri.
Yeah, Nixo is too far behind, I think, to really try this out. Yeah, Nixo is too far back. So Sigma now needs to fight his way back to Rodri, because Rodri, no slipstream for him against Punisher either. So a little bit of no man's land in the middle of the pack here. We'll go back to Bezzy because Bezzy's been overtaken. Bezzy overtaken down in the 5th, Gilles up into 4th, looking for that podium spot. And this would be a big result for Avalon if they can sneak a podium out of this.
Yes. I'm very impressed that on the first 6 position, there are six different teams.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a massive situation to get 6 different teams in that top 6, so the point spread isn't going to be too heavy either. We head into the final lap. Punisher is considerably off the back of this front 5, but at the end of the day, not too much damage being done. We'll see if there's going to be any damage done to the podium spots here, because Jalko is in trouble. The real question is how many positions is Jalko in trouble for? He's certainly going to be under fire from the Avalon driver here in this straight, much like we saw from Medi on the last lap. And also Bezzy might have a go at him as well if he can get close enough at some point on the lap. Final lap here then, Marty, what's your thinking going through this kind of situation if you're Jalko right now?
I'm watching. Chuaco is on reserve right now, so he has to save a little bit more of fuel than the other guys. So I'm thinking about it's Bexy. If Bexy is gonna overtake him, not Guille. Guille, I know he should overtake him, but thinking about Bexy right now, not Guille.
So you're thinking if you're Jalko, you're just trying to protect P4 rather than and not lose out to P5 rather than holding on to that podium spot.
Right there, yes.
We'll see if he's going to be able to do that.
Alpha second for Punisher. Rodri is gonna gain that position on the last lap. Right?
Yeah, we'll have a look in a second because we almost looked like there was going to be a move here for the Avalon driver. It doesn't come to pass quite yet. It might still happen here as they head toward the final part, straight in the first half of the lap. Here we go. They're going to be actually still continuing to bump Jalko. I'm not entirely sure I'd be in that camp right now, given the fact that there's that little left of this race. You've got to go for this, surely.
He's waiting to Indianapolis. Oh, big white. Right there.
Just about kept it.
Right now. Chuaco might get safe. Also from before if Bexy attacks Guille. Also, let's see.
Either that or he's going to help Pigili out. Either way, I don't think Jalko's safe from the Avalon driver. Yeah. That's a certain. Here comes Bezzy as well. Going for a double. And Jalko is going to lose out. Multiple positions here, and he dropped to 5th. And that's what you were saying that you were trying to protect. Oh, Bezzy just dropping it a little bit there. Here comes Jalko again. Here comes Jalko again. Fighting it back. Bezzy's having a bit of a struggle. More contact between the two. And Jalko will survive just a little bit here. Gained that 4th place back. Punisher's now going to serve his penalty, which means we're going to get a Rodri who's just overtaken him. Sigma's too far back. As we go back to the battle for 4th place with Jalko and Bezzy.
Has no fuel. It's like licking up of the fuel he has, but no,
Oh, yeah, you're right. He's made a mistake here, Jalko. We go to the front. Charles is comfortably out in front, but he's not really done any damage to him in any way, shape, or form. And this has been a one-way street, this race, and not exactly the way we thought it might have been happening. We come down with Charles going through the final chicane, and Charles hasn't been...
Chuaco without fuel. See Charles. Good race by Charles. Medi second. Third Guilla, but Chuaco. Let's see if Rodri can... Oof, no.
No, Rodri is too far back, so it's Charles from Medi, from Jill in third, and then it's Betty in fourth. Jalko gets fifth after the error on the fuel. Rodri will get sixth, and then we've got Punisher in seventh, Sigma in eighth, Nixo in ninth. Fox is going to get 10th in the end, and Black's going to get 11th, and somehow not ended last in this race after an absolute nightmare of the lap one. And then Mr. Alf has...
Something happened to Mr. Alf because in the lap 3 and 6, he almost did a 4-minute lap, so that's quite slow for...
He's had his fair share of issues in this race, that's a certainty. He's not. It might be one to forget for him, to be honest with you, and potentially one to forget for our lead spots, full stop, because Jalko, obviously, his teammate had the issue with the fuel as well.
Okay, so impressive result for the teams, because there is not like one team that is gonna gain so much points to the others, because they are so apart. The teammates. That's a good thing. I mean, impressive.
Owl's probably lost out the most out of all the teams there, realistically, at the back, and Jalko running out of fuel. Yeah, quite frankly, it's not going to have too much of an effect on the championship standings. I don't think that race too much in terms of the gaps, anyway. I think if you're custom GT, you'll quietly walk away with that and be a bit happy with how that race has unfolded.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, with that being, it's going to be one of those where this hasn't done too much damage. It's going to be a case of how these teams turn up at Spa, and then obviously Grand Valley as well.
Yeah, that's Spa, very tricky race also. I think more than this one because the rain will kick in, and yeah. Okay, the lobby just finished.
Yeah, fair enough. With that being said, then, I think we've had enough of. We've taken enough of your time, Marty. I'll let you get into, get set up for the final race here, the Golden Rockets and Visceral, and I appreciate you joining us and everything that you had to show for the stream. And good luck on your race, man.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to comment this with you, and I hope you support Visceral right now.
Appreciate it, right. With everyone that's going on, everything that's going on, we will be going to a break in due course here. I don't know how much Mr. Alf wants to do things with everything that just happened in his race that we just watched. But with that being said, when we go to that break, it should be Finley and Mr. Alf on the way back. I think that might be me done for the night. But it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you joining us, Marty. I appreciate everyone in the stream that's elected to join us for these two races. And
it was fun, really fun to. It was my first time streaming a race, so yeah, good.
You've done well. First time for everything, and I can tell you, I was a lot more nervous than that when I did my first one. It got some time.
Now, I'm more. I have more fair rating now for the race, so I'm just entering the lobby, so I'm gonna have to leave.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, man. Go and enjoy your race. Go and have a fun one. I hope you do well.
See you, everyone.
I will see you on the other side. Alright, I need to end this remote play.
Well done, Jaime. Good job.
Thanks, mate.
And good luck for the rest. You can jump off, you don't need to sit around.
Okay, see you guys.
Right, in a bit.
As I say, you can head off whenever you wish. Should be.
Yes, you're out. I'll invite you. You've been kicked out for some reason. Awesome. Just pinged you over the invite.
Yeah, I apologise, man. I think I might figure out and see if I can figure out another Ethernet cable or something of that version, see if I can get that to work. That's about as much as I can do. I apologise. Yeah, I apologise for that, man. I do. Because I was about to say, on the remote play, it's all fine. I can obviously see when it's going through, it's not translating, that's for certain.
Yeah. Finna get it. Watch me. Finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. Used to know me when I nothing in my pockets. Now they see me and they talking, always watching. I remember when you said I wouldn't make it. Now you mad because I took it, didn't fake it. Pressing every day, yeah, I was patient. Putting all that work, no hesitation. Now I'm getting everything I'm chasing. Look at me now, yeah, I'm elevation. Finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. See me pulling up, they switching how they acting. Back then, you weren't here when I was lacking. Now you want a piece of what I'm stacking. But I remember everything that happened. Keep it moving, ain't no time for all that talking. I've been running to the bag, I'm never walking. They've been sleeping, I've been up until the morning. Now I'm winning and there ain't no way I'm falling. Finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down. Finna get it, never backing out. Finna get it, yeah, I'm up and I'm out. Yeah, they doubted me, they did it, now they proud of me.
of the rest that do look like the team to beat both figuratively.
Yeah. Finna get it, finna get it. Watch me. Finna get it, finna get it, finna get it now. Finna get it, watch me run it down.
Absolutely, and I'm looking at the lineup we have for. It is completely
Used to know me when I nothing in my
teams.
pockets. Now they see me and they talking, always watching. I remember when you said I wouldn't make it. Now you mad
Point gap to the top, kind of coming through the back door, but they do have
work, no
a stat.
hesitation. Now I'm getting everything I'm chasing.
In my eyes, one of the drivers
Elevation. Finna get it, finna get it, finna get it now.
round upon round, he's needing a bit more reliance from his Staines car tonight. As you say, just looking at the strength of that driver, they're just as capable as any, as bringing it together and getting attention as qualifying. So we'll get that to you know in the production booth and in the comments. But qualifying is just about to. Yeah, and as I say, just look. It is arguably, in fact, there is no debate about it. These are 12 best, with no debate about it whatsoever. But of some of the drivers out, in terms of consistent, how will they? Okay, so looking driver lineups for this evening. Jose Ito at the wheel, P5 in the championship now, Bush Esport. They've got an dangerous lineup.
Absolutely.
Am I being heard? Awesome. As I was saying, before I think it was an issue with my headphones. Actually, I disconnected them, and all of a sudden they're working a lot better. As the drivers head towards the waiting zone now, looking at it, it's a completely stacked driver lineup. 12 of the best in the world. There's absolutely no debate about that. But from the perspective of someone who's been on the track this season, fought for contention, race wins, etc., who's impressed you out there the most this season in terms of raw consistency? In terms of, if you were to give obviously there's still a lot of racing to be done, but a sort of driver of the season award so far, who would you be looking to give that towards to? But I think, and this is testament to the improvements of the Mac 25 gaming ecosystem and how far the series has come in general. I think even looking at the Silver Rockets, someone like Chaos for Customs GT, he's gone under the radar as well this season. For my money, he's been one of the better drivers in the lineup, and to see him in the Silver Rockets alongside Customs, it just shows that even one of the best drivers in the series has been absolutely tantamount to Customs' effort this season. To not even see him in the upper bracket of teams at the end of the season, it just shows how the strength and depth of the field in Mac 25 in general. But looking at this lineup in particular, I did highlight Manu initially, although I think my headphones were a bit skew. It just felt like his teammates couldn't really get anything together, not through like pure pace, but through, I look back to Deep Forest, I think it was Cledo had a qualifying error and was unable to get out of the midfield. You had stuff like now in Panorama when it was Jose Ito got attacked for one of the EPLF drivers on the final lap, and Manu was out there up front fighting with one of the Elite Racing Squad drivers for the win as well. He's been really stellar as well, but I think the only real thing that's prevented Krakensteins from maybe progressing further forward in that championship battle, I mean, we said it before, 47 points is by no means an insurmountable number, but I think the thing that's been preventing Krakensteins from maybe pushing on a bit more than they would have liked is that maybe a bit more of reliance on Manu than they would have wanted. Like, there was a lot of stuff happening around Alien this season, in particular with Mehdi Hafidi maybe carrying that team a bit, but I think that's actually shown Alien's performances this season and shown that they're not as reliant on Mehdi, and I think Krakensteins will be looking to maybe bust that myth about them sooner rather than later as sort of being a one-man team. Yeah, but it did dip a wheel into the grass there as well, so maybe a bit of time lost. But one thing I'm noting specifically between the two teams that have got their flyers underway, you see Manu and Jose Ito in frame at the moment really close by, and yet the two Vanquish esports drivers, Maxo is streets ahead of Mew Mew behind, and then Synfreen cars have just crossed the line to start their flyer, and Popcorn, a driver I've had my eye on since my days commentating on PRL. He's pretty close behind B Racer as well for Synfreen. So really interesting to see the disparity between the two drivers. I think the Krakenstein driver is relying a lot more on the slipstream down the Mulsanne straight, whereas perhaps the Vanquish driver is more confident in their own ability to get the lap together without the use of the toe. Oh, yeah, but we've spoken a lot this season about these two driver teams, a lot of team dynamics. Obviously, there's no individual drivers championship. It's all in on the team aspect. So there's been a lot of, I can imagine communication. I can imagine you like guys being in the Discord voice call with your teammate, getting discussing tactics as the race progresses. But Popcorn with that penalty, even if Gallo sticks it on pole, that's going to be crucial because a penalty puts him automatically at the back. The one bit of solace he can take is that he's not got it before the penalty line, so his lap will still count. But that could offset any team strategy they had going forward if Gallo was to stick it on pole. And now we look at the Krakenstein's drivers coming through the Porsche curves and the final sequence of corners to conclude their flying lap. Manu Hernandez, one of our best drivers this season, we've already discussed, ahead of Jose Ito, who's maybe left a little bit to be desired out on track. They'll currently set the benchmark for this Golden Rockets qualifying session. One lap shootout with the Super Pole format. Manu to cross the line of Jose. A bit of a spin and a skid from Manu over the line. That's going to harbour acres of time. And Jose Ito sits on provisional pole with a 37.7, less than half a tenth ahead of his teammate Manu, but that could be all the difference. Pretty dismal lap from Yumi there, 4/10 of a second off of Manu. I say dismal, we're still yet to see more than half the field cross the line. Looking at the Sinfreen team, we know that Popcorn's going to be out of contention for pole, so all their hopes rely on the legendary figure of this game that is Valerio Gallo. Sinfreen B racer as he's known, across the line. Can he usurp Maxo from pole position? Over the line, now he can by just under 2/10 of a second. The Freem driver is up in the provisional pole as we expected. Popcorn nowhere near pole contention, just under a second off of 5th place of Mew Mew. Next we look at Visceral Esports. Jaime Marti just joined us in the commentary box. Could he take some words of wisdom from Pyro earlier on in the evening? He crosses the line now and he slots only into P6 there, splitting Popcorn and Mew Mew by equal distances. Ligadas crosses the line and he just finishes ahead of his teammate in P6. But a pretty disappointing session so far for the Visceral cars. They'll look to be much better in the race as we keep an eye on the Azteca runners now. Oh. It's a fantastic. Absolutely fantastic effort from Samu Moreno, a driver who we've been singing the praises of all season long, and even before then, absolute phenom of a driver, this young Spanish man here, a driver again who I've kept my eye on since he raced at Pure Racing League in what was my first commentary gig. He sticks it on pole here at the Circuit de La Sarthe by over 3/4 of a second, I should say, from Valerio Gallo in P2, splitting the two 92 drivers, but the championship leaders again look like the team to be. 1 and 3 for San Moreno and Antonio Santos, split only by Valerio Gallo. Looking at the rest of the field, Maxo will line up P4 and close out the second row of the grid for Vanquish Esports with his teammate Mew. We thought it was a pretty disappointing lap, but we didn't realise how high the bar would be set. He'll go for P7 just outside the top half, and still in with a shout depending on how he goes in the race. The Kraken stage drivers, bit of consistency, something we've not really seen from them this season outside of Manu Hernandez. Jose Ito, his teammate, sticking it ahead of Manu, although Manu maybe would have felt like he'd lost a bit of time in that final sector with that mistake he made coming through the final corner. They'll go from P5 and P6. The Visceral cars, bit of a disappointing session than we maybe expected them to be a bit higher up. Ligadas will go from P8, but you'll have his teammate Jaime Marti, who we just saw in the commentary box, go from P9, and then the final team in the standings, the final team in this qualifying session go over the second team in the standings, but it was a dismal session for Azteca Racing Motorsport with Brea P10 and Lopez P11 ahead only of Popcorn for Sinfreen, the only driver in the session to get a penalty. But it's a pretty jumbled up front few rows of the grid here. It could be all to play for. really, really interesting. And as I say, with that jumbled up grid, we could see quite a few deferrals in strategy. And we know, obviously, you've had the benefit of hindsight, having run your Silver Rockets race. But if you could turn back time now and say you were starting up in the front couple of rows, you were a 92 driver, you were a B race for a Max, so what would be in your head in terms of the strategy? Because we've seen quite a few drivers attempt to run the softs first to no avail this evening so far. Oh, the chicken move from San Marino there. I was really interested to see that. I thought maybe he was confident that his teammate Antonio Santos could get up in front of B Racer off the line and just park that car there and allow him to get a gap. But perhaps the sensible play from Sammy Moreno there. He'll go from P1, he'll have his teammate in support in P3, the same of which can be said for Valerio Gallo. He'll go from P2. His teammate Popcorn starting right at the back in P12 after a penalty in qualifying hampered his one-lap efforts. But we are about to get underway for our final race of the evening at the Circuit de La Sarthe. And is this appearing on your screen as well? I have Popcorn P1. No. Okay. Yeah, I had Popcorn P1 in the running list for some reason. Okay, it's been fixed now. So Sam Moreno on the outside, B Racer on the inside. We're about to get going for our final race evening. Golden split in the InfinityGSeries. The lights are out and we're underway. It looks like a pretty even start between the two front runners. Moreno does actually have a better acceleration off the line for him. He's filtered in front of Gallo already. Great start from both front row. They go line and stern into turn one. Antonio Santos filters in behind. He goes for the move already. Up the inside does the French driver, but Gallo's good to cover him off and wide 3-4 wide behind, but they all go through relatively nicely. A bit of contact that might have been there between the two visceral drivers, but they managed to keep it slow and steady through there. Popcorn up the inside of Lopez side by side with P11, but meanwhile out the front, it's all as you were. No. Yeah, and this will be a dream start for 92 as far as I'm concerned. And Moreno at front's already pulling a 0.6 of a second gap out from Valerio Gallo. That will come down naturally due to the slipstream. Antonio Santos maybe having a look there on Gallo. Maybe the thinking with him is if he can try and get in front of the Italian driver, it looks like he's going to go for the move, perhaps. No, he does bide his time. But the thinking I would be here is I would try and get in front of Gallo and then maybe just sort of park the bus and allow Samuel to get out with a gap, perhaps. As we see is there some drama behind? Jose Bray has come to stop. Jose Bray has come to a stop before the second chicane through the Mulsanne, and the start from Azteca Race Motorsport after a disappointing qualifying session goes from bad to worse, and there's a penalty further forward for both Miu Miu and Lopez. Yeah, got all to do. 7-second gap back now to the current P11, which is popcorn after his penalty. Penalties out front further on for P10 and P8 for Mumu and Lopez. And I wonder if that could be potentially, I mean, it is due to track limits. We know there's no car contact penalty, but perhaps that could have involved Brea in some regard. But by any way, he has got all to do now going from P12. And we're going to have to come up with some inventive strategy if he wants to get back in here, as there's a bit of contact out front between Gallo and Santos. Santos not opting for the move, a bit non-committal there, but there was some side-by-side there between the two, and Santos may look to make it side-by-side once again. But Moreno, this is all allowing him to pull a nice gap out front, 0.6 of a second, even after the Mulsanne straight with the slipstream. Is Santos going to go for the move? It looks like he's trying to dummy. He does eventually find the inside line. He'll turn to the outside for the braking zone throw, and he does break a bit earlier on. He's really teasing Gallo here. Is he going to go for the move? Is he not? What would you do in this position, Alf? Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see the team dynamic. Obviously, Krakensteins and Visceral have that luxury. And I was going to say, I think 92 might be making a point of it as well. But look at that gap now between P2 and P3. Nearly 0.9 of a second between B Racer and P2 and Antonio Santos and P3. I think the front two drivers really trying to make a break, or maybe Moreno trying to make a break and Gallo being forced to come with him instead. Or maybe it's Antonio Santos holding up the rest of the pack for the two cars in front out to fight. But really interesting dynamic going on here. But that's allowed the two drivers in front to gain a massive gap. And in the early stages of this race, it's looking like Moreno has the pace, but Gallo is being able to keep up with him early on. Really interesting scene. Also, I'm having a look at the fuel as well. Moreno has a chunk more fuel than Gallo, even in this early phases as well. So I don't know if this is a case of Gallo really having to go for it early on to even keep pace with Moreno, or Moreno doing some form of fuel save here. But he is quite a bit more fuel even in the early phases here. Antonio Santos seems to have closed the gap a bit as well. That's now 3/10 seconds. They're going to go side by side for the race lead here. Gallo's going to try and make it around the outside, but he doesn't even he gets it done before the braking zone. We have our first lead change, and it's the Italian driver Valerio Gallo who inherits the lead from Sinfreen, but he is under significant pressure from the 292 drivers behind. Really interesting to see this infighting as well, because this is just inviting the cars further back. Obviously, they're all starting on the medium compound, so there's no deferral of strategies with regards to starting tyres here, so they will all pit onto the softs as their only pit stop in this race. But this is just inviting the cars behind, the likes of the Krakenstein's cars, and Laganis as well has pulled a massive gap out front, 1.2 seconds to Jaime Marti as well. So he certainly looks like the quicker car of the visceral machines. These top 7 cars all within 2.5 seconds of each other. These fighting out front as Moreno does hold on to the lead by 4/10 as we start lap 3, really inviting the other cars into it. And the likes of Krakenstein will be licking their lips at any opportunity to try to push further forward as Manu does maybe go for a move on Maxo into turn 2. No, we just hold his time, but the Krakenstein's cars will certainly be looking at this with a sense of opportunity. Yeah, I was just about to mention that. No, it's a kind of a weekend or a week that's going from kind of bad to worse. And there's already a 1.1 second gap between teammates. Laganis ahead of Marti. As you say, that penalty for Marti will push him even further back, and they'll definitely sort of create this sort of hierarchy at the top between the top 7 and the bottom 4, and then Brea obviously behind with that cruel twist of fate through the chicanes in the opening lap from the Azteca cars. But out front, it's still Moreno who leads 0.3 of a second from B Racer. But as you say, compared to what we saw in the Silver Rockets earlier on from Chouse, and even some of the Bronze Rockets times out front from the likes of Monza Racing, this could be a race of attrition. Saying that, commentators curse, Gallo's going for the move again on Sammy Moreno. Another lead change through Indianapolis, and it's the Italian driver that leads once again. Both Krakenstein's drivers, both Freem drivers, Mew, Lopez, Brea as well, I think all opting to stay out, but most of the front runners opting to come in early. And this is really interesting. We've seen all the drivers start on the medians, but from what we've seen in the 2 earlier races tonight, quite a few drivers attempted to make the soft last 5 laps, again kind of to their downfall. So it'll be really interesting to track these drivers as well as know that none of them are taking fuel on board as well. From what I see, okay, Maxo's taking a bit on, but no increases in fuel for either of the 92 drivers. They're going without fuel here, and that's allowed them to pull even further away. Could the undercut work? We'll see, as Gallo will likely come in at the end of this lap. But no fuel top up here, really ballsy move from the 2 N2 drivers. I'm having a look at the drivers around Gallo on the same strategy as him, especially the two Krakensteins drivers further behind. And Manu in particular has quite a bit more fuel on board than Gallo does. So I'm not sure whether this is just Manu going on a superb fuel save here to really push all out at the end, or whether Manu's just on the sort of default level of fuel left needed to go to the end, and whether Gallo is going to have to fill up. But all the cars are being played here are all in the favour of the 92 cars, and they're using the slipstream to great effect down the Mulsanne straight. They're really the team game, as you mentioned here, obviously no drivers championship. These two teammates really working well together, and it's all looking like, although I don't commentator's curse again, it is looking like for all intents and purposes we could see a 92-1-2 once Gallo comes out with the pit lane. Although Gallo is hustling that car around now, purple through the final couple of sectors and heading towards the pit lane at the end of this lap. Popcorn. Yeah, so Popcorn does inherit the race lead, but he is not the net race leader, I suppose. Only driver so far in this race yet to pit, going the long game on the medium compound for a short stint of excellence at the end with us. Obviously, he will more likely than not come in at the end of this lap and go 3 times. But as we see Gallo coming out of the pit lane now, is Moreno going to be ahead? Yes, he is. Is Santos going to be ahead? Yes, he is. Where does Gallo filter out in all of this? Is he ahead of Max? So yes, he is. But there's a penalty for the German driver as well. The tyre physics that we have in this game in Gran Turismo, those tyres that Gallo have are going to be quite cold at the moment, so potentially we could see through this next sequence of corners and down towards the chicanes at the Mulsanne Straight, Gallo being reeled in by Maxo and Leganis behind here, depending on the tyre physics at play. But it's all advantage towards the 92 cars as they go purple. They have a 1.6 second gap to Gallo out in front, who's on cold tyres. Yeah, and it's going to be made significantly easier by the fact that the two cars in front of Manu, Ligados and Maxo, both have penalties. And that's going to also allow Gallo in front of them a bit more clean air, a bit less pressure behind them for now, to maybe wheel some better laps with, you know, the lack of presence of an overtaking car behind, to maybe try and catch the 292 cars. That gap has come down. It's only ever so slightly, 1.5, 1.6 seconds. So it's only really come down a tenth, and since Gallo's come out of the pit lane, and that's obviously not going to be enough at the current pace. But will those tyres come into their working window later on? They will, because they're a lap newer than the two N2 cars in front. And we did see that in the Bronze Rockets race early on with one of the cars. I think it was the Thunderlights car having a lap newer tyres, soft tyres in the car in front of him, and that worked to his advantage. So we could see that from Gallo later on. But the cards and the hand firmly in N2's favour. Okay, really interesting to see. And as Popcorn filters into the pit lane, that gives Sammy Moreno the race lead in the 1-2 effort for N2 at the moment. Looking further back, I'm not sure there's been some form of incident for Mew Mew, but he has now been caught and passed by Breyer, both of them carrying 1 second penalties in the battle for 11th. As Popcorn does filter out of the pit lane in P9, ahead of Lopez, but behind Jaime Marti, only 7 tenths behind though, so that gap could easily come down with the brand spanking new softs that the Freem car has on board. Looking out towards the front though, that gap is still coming down, but there's a penalty for B Racer, 1 second worth of penalties, and any efforts and any momentum made by the Italian driver to close that gap is all going to be completely in vain once he hits the penalty line, because he's going to drop more than a second back by the time he gets back up to racing speed. And that's even more good news for the 92 cars, who now look in full control of this race as Maxo gets ahead of Legatus for 4th. Oh, I tell you what's really interesting, I'm just looking at the driver's standings on the laptop at the moment. The only other team other than 92 with really, solid enough points in this race are Krakensteins, and they're the furthest behind team. All 4 of the other teams sandwiching those 2 are having their own issues in this race. Mew Mew's having a really poor race at the moment for Vanquish, and Maxo's really struggling as well. It was looking like it's to be caught by Manu and Legatus as well, who has managed to make the move on Jose Ito. So Legatus finding a bit of pace in the late race stage, getting ahead of Jose Ito as well. As Popcorn's also managed to get by Jaime Marti for P8 as well. So with using the brand new soft tyres to good advantage, and could he bridge that 3-second gap between himself and Jose Ito out in front? It's a big ask, but that's the risk of picking later. Will he be able to find those 3 seconds now, push further up than the position he currently sits in? This is even more without the context of them being in a 1-2 position at the moment. Looking at the other teams around him, this is a really, really good race, probably one of the best races 92 could have asked for with respect to their direct championship rivals in Azteca and Vissel. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And I'm just looking at the field as you mentioned it, and Valerio Gallo has even less fuel than the 92 cars in P3, and he's being reeled in by the vanquished car of Maxo in P4, in tow alongside the Krakenstein's car of Nano, perhaps maybe working together to try and bridge that gap. But it's going to be a really poor race. Saying they're not working together. I know what I'm speaking about. Manu up the inside of Maxo, and he gets the move done to move up into P4, and it's going from a really good start to an even better race for Krakenstein's P4 and P6 at the moment. And Jose Ito's also hustling that second Krakenstein's machine to potentially close the gap between him and the German vanquished driver in P5. But looking at the field, you're right. I think this is maybe the go moment for Manu now. He's managed to get the move done on Maxo. He's already closed it out. The gap to Gallo in front is now less than a second. I think Manu's decided to flip the switch now, get going, in the hopes that maybe, I mean, you'd be a fool to think he's not going to pass Gallo before the checkered flag with about a lap and a quarter to go, and maybe a lap and 2/3 to go out of this one. But is it beyond the realms of possibility that they catch the 92 car in front? I don't think so. This could be all set for a thrilling and final end to the race. He's been one of the standout drivers of the season, and he's really showing his true colours today. I remember back to GT Pulpy last year, the first event I commentated on from Act 25, that thrilling title battle he had with Santos, Serrano and Gallo for the championship in the elite event. He is one of the best drivers out there who are yet to see on the World Series, and make no bones about that statement. As we start the final lap here at the Circuit de La Sarthe, that gap is already coming down. It's less than 2 seconds now as they approach turn 2 in the first braking zone. Manu is the hunter. It looks like Antonio Santos is the hunted, and he is dropping back to some races, the French driver, a second back now from his teammate. It looks like Moreno's going to have to go it alone to try and see off the win for 92, but Manu is catching Antonio Santos in second with the fastest lap in tow as well. What a race this is turning out to be for the Spanish phenom. It's all set to be a thrilling final battle for the podium here. Maybe the win, maybe P2 just out of reach for Manu Hernandez, but Valerio Gallo, he makes the extraordinary scene routine as this Italian driver has been absolutely phenomenal in the fuel saving race. It's costing him now, pushing all the way, but he's somehow managing to make a battle out of P3 here after it looked like it was a foregone conclusion. He's right on the back of Manu Hernandez now, potentially teeing up for a move into Indianapolis if he gets the brake zone right. Meanwhile, there's a big battle for P5 behind Jose Ito, the other Krakenstein's driver, trying to make light work of Maxo around the outside, and he gets the move done before the braking zone has even started. So another fantastic effort for a Krakenstein's driver. We've been saying all season, there's a big slide for Maxo on the exit. We've been saying it all season, Manu's needed a capable teammate. This is the race for Jose Ito to finally show his true colours, to show that he is worthy of wearing that Krakenstein's livery. Manu Hernandez now on the real attack for Valerio Gallo, and Jose Ito is the same for Maxo. Maxo's going to look to the outside now, as is Gallo. It's deja vu between the two Krakenstein's drivers. Maxo gets ahead into P5. Round the outside goes Gallo, and he gets the move done, but Manu's back up the inside. Side by side into Indianapolis. Hernandez. Gallo has the outside line, threading it nicely. Hernandez staying there on the inside. That turns into the outside for this next braking zone. Gallo out in front, pushing Hernandez all the way out on the track. And they're still side by side. This is incredible racing as they look even further wide. And Gallo gets it done. But it's Manu Hernandez on the offensive again as we come towards the Porsche curves to start the final section of this thrilling race. It looks like it'll be a 92-1-2. Manu's back ahead. Jose Ito's back ahead of back, so heading towards the Porsche curves. All drama happening here in the final few sectors, but it looks like the race is run for Gallo. He's now dropping back over half a second behind the man in P3. And it looks like it is going to be a podium finish for the Spanish driver, barring some miracle of miracles. But coming through the final sector now, it's been dominance from start to finish from the 92 Esports squad. They have ran this race to perfection, and it'll be Samuel Moreno, one of the best drivers this season, to come through the Ford curves for the final time and surely put 92 as strong favourites for the championship. They cross the line and the championship leaders take home a 1-2 in the first race of the Golden Rockets playoffs. Manu Hernandez with an incredible drive to take home P3 and valuable points for Kraken Staines with his teammate Jose Ito in P5, Valerio Gallo in P4, Maxo P6, and a disappointing race for Vanquish. Popcorn comes home in 7th. What an incredible effort to come back from P12. That cannot be underestimated. Ligadas P8, and look at that battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th. They're all side by side on the finish. But Alf, I'm running out of breath. I'm going to need you to take over. What an incredible, incredible end to that race that was. Absolutely. It does certainly seem like match point for 92 heading into the final two races of the season. Let's take you through those race standings for the final race of the evening in the first of the Golden Rockets playoffs. It's a 1-2 for 92 Esports with Samuel Moreno ahead of his teammate Antonio Santos behind to further consolidate their 21-point championship lead they had going into this round. Manu Hernandez again with another standout performance in P3, but this time he's been ably supported by a teammate in Jose Ito coming home P5. Kraken Staines came into this round with a 47 points deficit. They snuck in through the back door, but they've certainly put the cat amongst the pigeons now, and they'll be right up there in that battle for sort of P3, P2 kind of. Valerio Gallo, another sterling effort from P4, doing very well, pushing early on, having to fuel save at the end, and nearly giving Manu a fright for the final few laps in P3, but he just manages to come home P4 with his teammate Popcorn starting last after a penalty, managing to work his way up to P7 after running an extra couple of laps on the mediums to preserve his softs until the very end. Very good effort from the Italian driver to come home P7. It's P6 for Maxo. with the Vanquish Esports team. It was a dismal race for his teammate, though. However, Miu finishing P11. We'll get onto that in a moment. Visceral Esports, Legatus home in P8. Jaime Marti home in P10. We just saw him in the commentary box. He seemed confident enough. This race has not gone to plan for them, and for all the incredible pace they've shown through the regular season so far, it does appear to have floundered in the early later phases. They were on the back foot the entire week, and then the team second in the championship heading into this final race, heading into this first race of the playoffs, I should say, as Tekka Racing Motorsport. It could not have gotten much worse for them. P9 and P12 in the end. Lopez in P9, Bray with an incident at the start of the race. P12, he did have a nice little battle with Miu and Jaime Marti towards the end. He was good. He did well to get back in contention, but a pretty dismal race from your current vice leaders in P2 at the moment. But that is that for our racing this evening. We've seen 3 incredible races: bronze rockets, silver rockets, and golden rockets. Before I wrap things up, Alf, a few words from yourself on what's been a thrilling evening of action. Yeah, thank you very much, Alf. And, sadly, as we like to say over in these parts, all good things must come to an end. It's been a phenomenal evening of racing from start to finish. I would like to thank Alf for joining me this evening in the commentary box. I'd like to thank Jaime Marti for joining us for race 2, alongside another sterling effort from HTTP. I got the name right that time, Pyro, who did the first 2 races this evening, bronze and silver rockets. It's been an incredible effort this evening. I will be back Wednesday alongside Pyro and another special guest to bring you for round 9, coming from Spa-Francorchamps. We will see you then. I've been Finn Williams. Thank you so much for joining me for the evening, and we will see you on Wednesday. Goodbye for now.